Let's go to Super Bowl. Let's go. Come on, baby. Fight, dog. Yeah. Hell yeah. Let's go get people on. Come on, man. Go, man. You came to play. You came to the year. You showed up.
Chiefs will tackle him. This game is over. This game is over. Chiefs. You can dislike the Chiefs. You can disrespect the Chiefs. You're going to have to deal with the Chiefs as the AFC champions. Hey, I got some wise words for that Cincinnati mayor. Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni. It's Mahomes' house. You gotta fight for your right to party!
Go to the Super Bowl. Yes! That's with a capital S and a capital B, baby. And how about those Chiefs?
Woo! Burrowhead my ass! Woo!
Howdy, Chiefs.
Go!
It's Wednesday.
Awesome,
it's 7 o'clock. It's time for Chiefs Kingdom Live, baby.
That's right.
Joining us tonight. We appreciate it. If you haven't already clicked like, click subscribe, tell a friend, tell a family member, tell your lawyer, help spread the word. We'd sure appreciate it. We got a good show. We're going to break this Super Bowl down here. I'm going to call it 4 days away. We're basically 4 days away from the Chiefs playing in their third Super Bowl in 4 years. Patrick, chance to get a second ring here.
Let's go.
I'm feeling pretty good. How are you guys feeling, Bo?
Oh, man, I'm feeling great. Got my new Kelsey Bowl t-shirt fresh off the New Heights website. Couldn't be happier with it. Man, loving all the footage coming out of Super Bowl week. I mean, I remember this time last year just kind of being miserable and like barely paying attention to it. This time I'm soaking it all up because we're in it. Hey, so cheers, buddy. Cheers. How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing great, man. Just excited for the game. We're not far away now, so just kind of biding the days and counting them down, man. Like nothing's bothering me at work, stuff going on. I'm like, doesn't matter. Chiefs are in the Super Bowl, baby. So that's where it's at. So
I hope my boss or my coworkers aren't watching because I ain't been doing shit all week except for think about the Super Bowl. So,
A little distracted, are we?
Yeah, no, it looks like we got a full house in here. I see Brenda's in here. I see our man Shippy is here. Carol's in here. Welcome, everybody. Let us know. Send us a chat, a comment, how you're feeling about this Super Bowl coming up. It's wild times in Chiefs Kingdom for sure. I put a tweet out earlier in the week before we get to this Super Bowl. The Chiefs are the favorites for the Super Bowl next year already. And I put a tweet out, and Nick and I were talking about this, and I was just thinking, The Chiefs are playing in the Super Bowl this weekend, and they're the favorites for the Super Bowl next year already. Like, what simulation alternative reality are we living in right now? It's crazy. It's wild, but I'm loving it, enjoying every minute of this ride. Looks like got Big Doug in here. Good to see you, Big Doug. Appreciate you jumping in.
Yep. Thanks everybody for joining. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Have you guys been watching any of the media stuff leading up to the Super Bowl this week, Nick?
Yeah, definitely. I started to watch the whole opening night thing, and they started with the Eagles. I was like, dude, is this Eagles shit ever gonna be over? Are they gonna get to the Chiefs or what? So we turned it off and we did nighttime stuff with the girls, and I caught some of it live, and then I watched a lot of the clips and stuff afterwards. But it's funny, it sound like the spoiled ass fan, but I was just kind of like, I'm kind of bored of the opening night Super Bowl stuff. I remember the first time I was just like, dude, I didn't even know they did this, just watching it, just soaking it all in. And now you're like, this is the third one in 4 years, I can watch some of the clips tomorrow, but yeah, it's still pretty sick, dude. It's great seeing your team up there. There's only 2 teams left. What I enjoyed even more was seeing all the Pro Bowl stuff going on and being like, yeah, their season's over, huh?
Yeah, Bo, you've been watching any of the media coverage, the events going on all week leading up to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of the interviews get a little bit monotonous, so I've been kind of just taking them in as I can. But oh yeah, how can you not? Like you said, it just my computer's there, works there, or the internet's there. Like which one are we going to be on most of the time? Picking the internet, and man, yeah, I've just been enjoying it. Yeah, I've really been enjoying. Like today, there was Arrowhead Addict. They were at like this huge press convention in a convention center, right? So like people were just making the rounds, and they had so many people stop by. It was just really cool that they got to do that. I know they're a much bigger podcast, but they had like Nick Lowry show up. They got to interview Joe Montana, dude. Like they got the gambit of players there. It was really cool to watch those guys, and then they started interviewing like coaches and stuff like that. So it was pretty cool to watch those guys. How about you? What kind of videos have you been watching?
I've caught some of the interviews. I saw the clip of Patrick Mahomes where they were doing they were in a boxing ring or something. And when Patrick Mahomes walks into that arena where that ring was at, that place was lit. It was loud, man. It sounded like he was walking into Arrowhead Stadium. So Chiefs Kingdom, definitely representing in Phoenix right now.
It's funny you mentioned that because here it is.
It's
A lot of Chiefs fans, Patrick. A lot of Chiefs fans.
The announcer's sitting right next to him, yelling at him.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty cool. That had to get him fired up. That had to make Patrick feel good. So hats off to Chiefs Kingdom representing, showing up out there. I was a little bummed. I saw earlier that Pub Rock out there in Scottsdale is having their Super Bowl kickoff party thing going on this evening. A bunch of our followers and friends on Twitter I saw were posting pictures out there at Pub Rock, and I was kind of regretting not going.
Oh, yeah.
They asked us to come back out there. If you remember, those of the OGs here that are with us, remember our live broadcast week 1 from Phoenix, from the Scottsdale area, before week 1 when we played the Arizona Cardinals. We did a live show out there, met a lot of the AZ Chiefs Kingdom Jeff, Hachi, the owners there at Pub Rock. Just great people. That was a blast, man. It's wild looking back now on that and thinking about that was the beginning of the season, and it was our first live show at an on location, and then here they are right back there where it all started, man, in Phoenix for Super Bowl 57.
Yeah, we were joking about that, right? We were joking while we were there, like, oh man, wouldn't it be cool to start the season here and finish the season here? And here we are, right?
Yeah, it looks like we got Jamie's in here. The enemy's doing a little reconnaissance.
All right, we got talking code now, guys.
Yeah.
He said,
elephant landed in the room on Tuesday. The elephant landed in the room on Tuesday.
Yeah, Jamie told me he's gonna hop on. He wanted to wish us luck, so good luck to you guys. Not too much luck. We're still hoping for the Chiefs win, but appreciate that, Jamie.
Right. Yeah.
I hope your players trip and fall.
Right. We make sure we do our best impression of Andy Reid with the coach speak with Jamie watching the show here out there in Philadelphia. Don't give away anything. Say a lot without saying anything. That's the key to coach speak. But no, hey, Jamie, we appreciate the support, you joining in. And you've been viewing the show here on pretty much looks like almost every episode this season. And may the best team win, man. May the best team win. Let's just leave it at that. So cheers to Jamie. Appreciate the support. Before we get into the kind of the matchups and who we think players to watch are and whatnot, but let's just get your overall thoughts, and I'd be interested to see how the chat's feeling about this game. So overall, how do you feel going into this game? Nick, confident? Well, I mean,
I feel confident, man. Yeah. So I've been thinking about this a lot. The Bengals really are not a good matchup for the Chiefs stylistically and how we play. But I feel like the Eagles, their style of play, we do match up well against those teams.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the closest comp, not exactly the same because I think Hurts is a better passer, but the closest comp would be the Ravens over the past few years, kind of that style of offense, run dominant, all that. And we've fared well against them. We dropped one game, and it was because of a fumble where we basically just needed to kick a field goal to win. And so I feel like stylistically we are going to match up well against them. They're a really good team. I also feel like the Chiefs have played really good competition this year. They have been battle tested. I don't know how much that really counts for anything, but I feel like we've been there. We've been down in games. We've been down by double digits. We know how to come back. We have the Super Bowl experience. This is not new. This is normal for Patrick Mahomes. Right? He's been in the league 5 years and he's done this more often than he hasn't. So this is normal for him. You've got the leader of your team going to his third Super Bowl, your coach going to his fourth Super Bowl. So I'm feeling confident. I feel like we have an edge, and we also have the underdog thing where it's like, well, I mean, the money's against us. People are still betting against us. I mean, that's the cherry on top. So
they must not watch CKL.
Yeah, the Eagles kind of rode that same wave to their Super Bowl win a few years ago, right? The underdog role. No one believes in us. Everybody's betting against us. It's wild to think that the team that has been in the AFC Championship game 5 straight years, this is their third Super Bowl in 5 years, is the underdog. But here they are. And we talked about it again before the AFC Championship game. Keep talking, keep doubting us, keep betting against us, all that. The Eagles have not been putting out a bunch of trash talk like the Bengals, but that chip on your shoulder, right, Bo? You were talking about that.
Right, exactly.
Take every advantage, every edge you can get. What's up, Dylan? Good to see you. You're welcome, man. Thank you for joining us all season.
Dude, it's like the Eagles noticed they noticed that we brushed off that chip off our shoulder, right? And they're like, "Oh, excuse me, sir, you dropped something," and they just put it right back on there. Right. There you go.
Right. Yeah.
Let's go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. How are you feeling about this game, Bo?
I feel good, man. I'm not as confident as Nick seems to be. I'm a little bit more on the chat side. I'm kind of nervous as hell, to tell you the truth. I mean, just taking in all this Philly Chief stats this week, right? Like, you realize just how dominant of a team Philly has been this year. I think they tallied up 70 total sacks this year, and they led the league, right? So I'm just a little worried about how our rush defense is going to handle that. I think we had 55 sacks and we were the second place. So I mean, just like that's the gap right there, right? Like they have some killers on their line. So a little nervous in that aspect, just because I have that Super Bowl fear of just seeing Patrick Mahomes run for his life against Tampa Bay, right? Like I'm just like, oh, is this O-line gonna give him some time at least? I don't want to have to re-experience that. But then last week we were talking about how many rookies we have in our team too, right? So it's a big stage for them. They're all most of them are going to be playing. We have a bunch of veterans too that are on the team that haven't been in this moment, like Dunlap and Juju, right? Like big name guys that just haven't been here before, even though the Chiefs have. But other than that, I'm feeling great, dude. We got Mahomes, who his ankle has pretty much been a non-issue all week. I mean, you hear it reported on, but like, oh, he's got 2 weeks instead of 1. Like he's going to be way better. We got Travis Kelce, we got our receiving core, we got Pacheco. So I'm feeling super confident about our team being able to produce. I'm just worried about what their team's going to be able to do. How about you, man? How are you feeling for this game here?
Yeah, I feel really good about this game. look, I feel the Chiefs are the better team. They have the same record, playing in the better conference. You talked about the experience. There's been a lot of turnover from the Super Bowl season, especially the Super Bowl win in Miami 3 years ago. But Patrick was in that game. Travis was in that game.
Yep.
Andy Reid's got the head coaching experience. This is the first time for a lot of these Eagles players. Kelsey, Jason Kelsey, he was on the Super Bowl team a few years ago, but they've got a new coach. They've got a new quarterback. They've got a lot. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, their big-name playmakers. This is their first Super Bowl. I feel like the Bengals are a better team than the Eagles, personally. Chiefs just took care of them. So I'm surprised that the Chiefs are the underdogs. I think a lot of that comes from the Eagles won more games more convincingly. Like, it's almost like a college football thing, where Alabama dominates more than the other team with one loss, so they're the favorite. But you look at, and we'll get into this a little bit more, but you look at their level of competition, the teams the Eagles have played this year compared to the Chiefs' schedule and opponents. I don't think it's that close. So I feel really good. I feel like the Chiefs, it's their game to lose coming up on Sunday.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, but, with that said, let's get into some matchups and some players to watch and kind of just break this game down. Got to start with Patrick Mahomes. You mentioned the ankle. You saw what he was able to do on a week's rest against the Cincinnati Bengals, a really good defense. Got 2 weeks now of rest, got 2 weeks of treatment. The guy, I don't expect him necessarily to be 100%, but you got to think he's going to be closer to 100% than he was in the Bengals game, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I would assume so.
Yeah. Patrick Mahomes got the experience. I know a lot is being made of this Eagles defense, but when you look at Patrick Mahomes in his career, and even more specifically this season against top 10 defenses, the dude was 4-0 this year. He played 4 top 10 defenses this season. He was 4-0, averaged almost 300 passing yards a game, had 10 touchdowns, only, I want to say, 3 or 4 interceptions.
Right.
Like a 105 or 106 passer rating. When they played the 49ers defense, that was one of the greatest defenses of all, or the greatest defense of all time by a lot of these metrics, he shredded that defense. If it wasn't for a penalty that took a touchdown away, they would have put up 50 on the Niners defense. So, look, the Eagles defense, I don't think has played a quarterback or an offense like the Chiefs all season. Nick, you were talking about you'd seen, and I saw the same thing too, the quarterbacks that the Eagles defense has faced.
Yeah.
Who was the best on that list that you thought? I mean, Aaron Rodgers or Dak?
Yeah, definitely. Maybe Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers and Dak lit that defense up. That was their 2 highest outputs of points that they gave up. So, yeah, Patrick Mahomes eats top 10 defenses for breakfast, and he has pretty much his entire career.
Oh, yeah.
Go back to the Tampa Bay game earlier in the year. That was top 10 defense. They won that game easily. Patrick Mahomes was throwing the ball all over the field. What are you thinking we're going to see from Patrick Mahomes in this game, Bo?
Like I was kind of alluding to it, like it hasn't been that much of an issue in all the Super Bowl talk. I mean, people ask about it, but it's not as big of a concern, or that people just don't harp on it as much as he. Got somebody walking in here. But no, it's been a non-issue, right? So he's been glancing it off. I mean, people are watching him like a hawk. I've noticed cameramen just film his feet as he's walking to and from podiums, you know what I mean? Weird. And there's no hitch in his step or anything like that. He just brushes it right off. So I mean, how can I not expect a little bit better performance than what we saw against Cincinnati, right? Like just that much more recovery time for that guy. I mean, I was listening to some of his rehab that he has to do. They had him running in like I can't remember what they call like a G lift or something. It's like a little like harness that kind of lifts you up, so you're not running with your full body weight, but you're still running, moving all the tendons. They had him running in the pool the day after the injury, right? Like just doing a bunch of stuff that I was just like, dang, all right, like. I guess the night of the injury, he immediately started doing stuff like that. So, I mean, give that guy 2 weeks with that team. I kind of hate to say I'm expecting some great things out of the guy, man. Like, let's see it. Nick, what about you, man?
I'm expecting him to look like himself pre-injury. He's had 3 weeks. We saw what he did with turf toe against Tampa. I know that his statistics in that game weren't great, but he was hitting people in the face. He was scrambling. He was making amazing plays. I hope we don't see him with his happy feet where he feels like he needs to bail as much. But I feel like you're going to see him playing to the best of the abilities that you would normally see him play. And I think it's good that the offensive line kind of woke up in that Jacksonville game, and you've seen them really step up since that point forward. I know he got sacked a few times in the Bengals game, but that was kind of him trying to maybe bail and run, and he wasn't as fast as he normally is, so he took a couple of sacks. One was a really close play where he got the ball away to a receiver, but then they overturned it with a free review play where they said he was down. So I think you're going to see Patrick ball out. I think you're going to, I don't think you're going to see like 80% or 75% Mahomes.
Yep. Looks like we got Jay Cousin there. I believe that's cousin Joel. What's up, Joel?
What's up, dude?
Good to see you, man.
Nice.
Thanks for joining in. Yeah, that's it. The road does go to Kansas City. The Chiefs or the Bengals we're talking about. They were the big dogs, the AFC before the game last week. Not so much. The Chiefs are the big dogs. When you host the game 5 years in a row in your stadium and you win it 3 times, you're the big dogs. So, Patrick Mahomes, to me, he neutralizes perhaps that's Bo, you mentioned how many sacks the Eagles had. It was like top 5 amount of sacks, top 3 number of sacks in the NFL since like 1970, since they
since like the Bears. Yeah.
And if there is a little bit of lingering issues with the injury, that is somewhat concerning. But Patrick Mahomes doesn't get sacked. The line is pretty decent. It's got some weak spots. Orlando Brown Jr.'s had his struggles. That's been documented. We've discussed that on this show. Andrew Wiley on the other end, their tackles are not great. They're average NFL tackles. But they've got solid defenders on the interior of that line, man. They got Joe Tooney. They've got Creed Humphrey, who, if you look at some of these grades that go out, I know we laugh at PFF because they don't always hit it right. And they had Patrick Mahomes through the first month of the season was like the 8th highest grade hitters, number 8 quarterback grade, whatever. But they had Creed Humphrey graded higher than Jason Kelsey this year. And then the other guy there, Trey Smith, he's starting to really round into offensive guard there. So they're solid in the middle. Leave Jet McKinnon in there to chip. He's a solid pass blocker. And Mahomes' scrambling ability, he's one of the least sacked quarterbacks every year just because the dude can get out of it.
And he's like one of the most pressured too.
Right.
Sometimes he does get happy feet and bails the pocket a little bit early, but he's just as good out on the run, out of the pocket, making plays. When you look at his passer rating and his QBR and his numbers, his completion percentage and touchdown passes outside the pocket, he's the best in the NFL outside of the pocket. So, look, if they can do let's just say a slightly above average job protecting him, and the ankle is to a point where it's good enough to where he can scramble and elude that pass rush, I don't see that being a huge issue. I don't see Patrick Mahomes getting sacked 6 times in this game like we saw Joe Burrow get sacked 5 or 6 times in the championship game. Do you guys? I don't.
No way. Do you think the Chiefs come out quick throwing, not even giving them a chance to get to Mahomes, right? Like just come out two-step dropbacks, 3-step dropbacks, and balls out. You know what I mean? Or like rushing with, like you were saying, like little screen passes or little dump passes out to McKinnon or something, right? You think that's what they're going to do, or do you think they're going to kind of just stick to their guns?
Well, look, they have not been. They've not been like the Super Bowl experience to me from the Buccaneers game. They've not been the same team where it's kind of living on the deep ball and Patrick needs a lot of time, right? That was a big issue in that Super Bowl where they had the banged up offensive line, and we were critical of it. The Chiefs, they did not adjust to that. They did not take the short passes. They had receivers running routes 30 yards downfield. So, yeah, I think you see them adjust a little bit, but I don't think that's necessarily them doing it for this game. That's kind of been the offense this year, right? Quicker passes, yards after catch, crossing routes, screens. Jet McKinnon set a record for touchdown receptions in a season by a running back.
Right. Yeah.
In the screen game and the short passes. We saw it with MVS against the Bengals last week. A lot of checkdowns. Pacheco had a good year, had a good week receiving. I think he had 4 or 5 catches for it was like 55 or 60 yards. So, yeah, I think you do see some of that, but I don't know that that's necessarily them adjusting to the Eagles' defense. That's just kind of what they've done all year. Nick, do you agree with that? I think that's right on, or?
Yeah, I also think that the way the Eagles' rush defense is playing, that we're going to be able to run the ball, which should help with some of that pass rush. So we got John C's in here. He said, what if they bring the house all first quarter to knock him out like the other QBs?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking they're going to try to do.
Mahomes eats up the blitz though. So if they're bringing blitzers, he's gonna eat it up. So yeah, they may be able to get to him and knock him down. But if you were to look at Brock Purdy versus Patrick Mahomes standing next to each other, you'd see why Patrick Mahomes didn't get knocked out of a game while Brock Purdy did. So Mahomes he's a tank dude. He's my height, but he outweighs me by probably 50 pounds. He's a big dude. So, I don't know. Blitz him at your own peril, because he eats up the blitz. He's going to find the open guy, and we're going to gash you. So,
like, dude, I guess for me, like, I've just noticed Philly running like definitely more zone defense heavy, and then they'll kind of rush, right? And I just kind of see them to like mix it up. They're going to have to like get away from that. And Mahomes is always the most rushed quarterback in the past 4 years. I think every year he's been the most rushed or blitzed quarterback. So yeah, I think that the Eagles are just going to have to do it too, because I mean that's the only strategy you have, and then even then you're living on a prayer that your guys are good enough to play backyard football with Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. So I'm kind of worried that they do send the house and maybe get to him, try to hit him and try to hurt him, right? I think they might have like a little bit of that in them. I'm just worried about seeing guys maybe go low or like, whoops, I tackled him at his ankle, kind of thing. But yeah,
it's always a concern that they could try to cheap shot him, but I don't think that I saw the Eagles cheap shotting people. So I think if it's legit hits on the QB, Mahomes is a pretty durable guy. If that hit where he sprained his ankle didn't take him out of the postseason, I don't know what's going to, really, right? Unless it's helmet to helmet and something bad happens. But let's not go into that mental space, because I have enough stress to think about. So.
Right. Yeah, I lost signal there for a little bit, so I don't think I missed much of what you guys were talking about, but I'm back now. Just let me know if my audio,
all good,
my signal.
Yep, I can hear you. I can hear you.
The Wi-Fi's been working all day and all night. I can tell the difference, Bo, when you're messing. But, I just don't see Patrick taking a bunch of sacks. And I think you can use the lessons learned in that Tampa Bay Super Bowl. Don't depend on the dude to run around and be Superman. Throw some screens, throw some quick shots. I want to say it was a game earlier this year where they were blitzing Mahomes, and at one point Tony Romo was announcing the game, and he says, "Okay, well, you've blitzed him 60% of the time, and against the blitz, he's thrown for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, and it's not even halftime yet. Maybe you want to stop blitzing him here." You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
Yeah, I don't see Patrick taking a lot of sacks, and I don't see the pressure rattling him. I don't see it being a big deal. So,
all right. So over under on 5. How many scrambles do we see Mahomes do this game?
Like scrambles, like he runs for yards, or he's in the back running out of the pocket, scrambling around. You're talking about runs?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, like we saw him do it twice, maybe 3 times the championship game, right? With a limited ankle. So I mean, this is another week. Still iffy.
I think his over under rushing yards on the Vegas betting is in the low 20s. So I say I take the under.
Yeah, I would probably take the under at 5. Not a lot under. I don't think you're going to see him scramble 1 time or 0 times, but with the ankle, it's not going to be 100%. But
we'll get into more why I'm picking 5 with the receivers and everything. But I just want to get you guys' feel for it.
He got the edge on the Bengals for the first down in the championship game there at the end of the game. He got the edge and got around the corner on him a week removed from that injury. It doesn't seem like he aggravated that injury in that game either. So look, it's got to be, he's got to be feeling better than he was there, and mobility and getting around was not really that big of an issue for him.
Towards the end, I saw him like limping. I saw him do like a across the field throw that like he even mentioned something about like he felt it, and then excuse me, he had a bit of like a limp after the fact. But I agree. I don't think he like re-aggravated or re-sprained it by any means.
Yeah,
just feeling the injury that is there.
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes. It'd be interesting to see. It looks like he's going to have all of his receivers minus McCole Hardman. But McCole Hardman, he came back and played in the championship game for a half, but he missed a big chunk of the end of the season there on IR. He missed 5 or 6 games. So
like 6 games, yeah.
That's not – I don't want to say it's not a big loss, but it's not a loss. It's not something that they haven't already been working around and been successful without him being on the field. Love to see Jet. Feel bad for that dude getting hurt and missing the playoffs in the Super Bowl, man. That sucks for that guy. But it's looking like Juju's going to play. It's looking like Kadarius Toney's going to play. Travis is probably 100% right now. I don't think the back thing seemed like he got that ironed out before the championship game against the Bengals. So should be at full strength. That was a little bit of a concern with me. You talked about the receiving core just a second ago, Bo. Maybe who's he going to throw the ball to? But it looks like he's going to have his full complement of guys, which is nice. Which receiver you guys got your eye on? What are you expecting from the receiving core, Nick?
That's a good question. With everybody hurt, I'm going to go MVS this game. He really showed up in this last game. I think that these guys are going to be playing, but they're not going to be at 100% even with a couple of weeks rest. They said Juju was barely able to walk after the AFC Championship game in the locker room, so we'll see how limited he is. But I'm going to go MVS. I'm going to say that he's going to be the guy that's going to be open. He was open all day against the Bengals, so let's see what he can do. And he's a fast dude if he can get open. So.
Yeah, looks like I see Race Car over there in the chat.
Hey,
Race Car, thanks for joining. Appreciate it.
There is no conservative with Mahomes, and definitely not in the Super Bowl. 100% agree. We've seen that before. He's put his body on the line in that game multiple times.
What are you expecting to see out of the wide receiving core, Bo? You think they're going to be healthy? You think they're back? Patrick going to have the full complement of weapons out there?
It's weird for me, man, because like 2 weeks for me with any injury is not enough time. And I know these guys have all the doctors and facilities at their disposal, but 2 weeks, man, for some of these injuries just seems like, are you 100, right? And I know these guys are tough, and you always play with pain to some extent, but
yeah,
I am a little worried that we saw in that AFC Championship game. These guys said they were healthy, come in, play 6-7 snaps, and boom, right back onto the sideline, right? It's kind of been an issue with our receiving core, just these little minor injuries that we've had to suffer through all year. Kadarius Toney, though, said at his presser, he's like, I'm definitely playing on Sunday. So there was no doubt on whether or not he was feeling it or not. But I mean, we'll just have to see. That's who I have my eyes on, though. I've always just, since we got him, just noticed how fast and dynamic that guy is. And you can see how excited he is to be here. I would like to see him do something great. What about you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to be good. Patrick Mahomes has proven this year that he can make it work with guys that are out there on the field. You saw last week when guys were going down, MVS stepped up. Marcus Kemp, a guy that's familiar with the offense, he went out and made a big catch for a first down. Patrick's going to get the ball to guys. He's going to find the open guy. MVS, John C's got a good comment in there right now. MVS is playing confident. He's playing happy. If you watched the championship round episode of The Franchise on Chiefs.com there on their YouTube channel, if you haven't, I definitely recommend you watch it. I've watched it probably 8 or
There
9
might have been
times
some
this week.
footage from that in our opening video.
Yeah. MVS was on the sideline, and he's like, I'm not going home without it. I'm not going home without it. The dude was determined. And he showed up. And, we've been kind of hard on him, me particularly this year with the drops and struggling to get on the same page with Patrick. But the dude showed up in the biggest game of the year when guys were going down and they needed someone to step up. That dude stepped up. And I think a lot of that is Patrick Mahomes, right? He's got the confidence in the guys. He's going to find you. Andy's going to find ways to scheme guys, to get guys open. They're going to get their plays. They're going to get theirs on offense. So, yeah, I think you see a productive day out of the passing game. I really do. I'd probably have to go right now with MVS as my receiver to watch. Kelsey, I know Brandon put in there a comment. They might double Kelsey. Lots of teams try to double Kelsey. It doesn't work. We'll talk about it here in a minute. But, yeah, so I expect a good output from the receiving core. I expect guys to be open. I expect Patrick to make passes. I expect him to move the ball through the air. Looks like Tom's in here. What's up, Tom? Good to see you, man. Tom out there. Where's Tom at? Barbados or something?
Barbados.
Like that? Yeah. Tom. Living the island life, man. He's living the good life. So he's not here with the freezing rain in Kansas City.
He doesn't need to go Cabo on 3. He's already.
He doesn't need to go visit Eli Apple in Cabo. So, yeah, that was another thing that was I was kicking myself for not heading out to Arizona when I saw the freezing rain was coming tonight in the snow. I was like, man, Phoenix supposed to be like 71 degrees tomorrow. So, but John, he made some great catches. That stretching, twisting catch, all hands catch he made for almost like 25, 30-yard gain down the hash mark there. That pass he caught kind of falling on his rear end in the end zone was a bullet. That's not an easy pass to catch. Defender kind of diving in at the last second, breaking your concentration. The dude held on, made the catch, had 100 yards and a tutty in the championship game.
Yep.
I mean, you could say Patrick was the MVP of every game, but MVS, the MVP of the championship game. Any argument from you guys there?
No way, man. That's why I put him at the start of the video. Kelsey giving him mad props, right? Like he even said, the game of the year, you fucking showed up to play, dog, and just hits him right in the chest. Like everybody realized it, even the players, the coaches knew. I mean, everybody's giving him praise. That guy crushed it.
Yeah, I mean, offensive probably. Defense, if you're saying whole team, Chris Jones is right there, but definitely the guy. Like, everybody else is hurt, right? It's like you're basically the only starter that's left. We got Sky Moore returning punts because of how depleted we were, and the dude stepped up and he got it done. And we've said this all season where it just seems like him and Patrick just are like a hair off with each other. And it seems like in that game they figured it out and they're connecting, and it was great to see. So hopefully a signal of things to come. So
something that could help that passing game would be the running game. Isaiah Pacheco had kind of a quiet day running the ball against the Bengals. I was a little bit disappointed in the Chiefs' inability to run the ball in that game. But if this Eagles defense has a weakness, that's it. Run defense. Nick, you think the running game, you think Pacheco, maybe some of these guys, Clyde's back.
I was just about to say, Shippy was bringing it up earlier.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Glide.
So I told in our text thread between us during the week, I told Scott and Bo I had a dream that they started Clyde Edwards-Helaire and he got all the carries. I don't remember in the dream how the game ended, but I'll say this: I from what I remember, I think he balled out. So
I text Nick immediately back. You spelled nightmare wrong.
Yeah, you spelled nightmare wrong. So
look. Clyde had some flashes earlier in the year, and he made some big plays. So don't want to be too hard on Clyde. And Pacheco didn't do a whole lot. Now he did have almost 100 yards. I want to say he had like 96 yards in the Jaguar.
He had like 60, 70 yards receiving in that game, though.
In the divisional round. Yeah, he did have a good game receiving. On the ground, what are you expecting, Nick? Pacheco, they get Clyde back in the mix. McKinnon. You think the Chiefs run the ball better than they did against the Bengals?
I think so. I think they're gonna be. They were trying to be balanced against the Bengals. It just wasn't working, and so they had to basically go to pass plays. I think so. I think you're going to see them come out. I'll say this, in the Tampa Bay Super Bowl, Clyde was one of the players that actually showed up to play in that game. If you remember, doing well, we really probably should have ran more in that game, seeing how everybody else was dropping passes. So I think you're going to see a balanced attack. What?
Well, Laney's comment is, I'm sorry to distract you, bro. I'm not laughing at you.
That's okay. For those that don't know, Scott's nickname for Clyde Edwards-Helaire is the human snail. So
it's not my nickname. It's a nickname somebody gave him on Twitter.
It's the internet's nickname, Nick.
Well, I heard it from you, so it's yours.
Right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I interrupted you. Go ahead.
That's okay. I think you're going to see us try for a balanced attack, especially I think they're the 24th ranked run defense, number 1 ranked pass offense. So why not, right? You try to control the game, try to chew up clock, try to have long drives, grind it out, and then it brings those guys up, and it just opens everything else up if we can establish the run. Pacheco punishes people. I wouldn't want to try to tackle him. So if you've got him, CEH, and Jerick McKinnon back there, and they're not a great run defense, you should definitely be trying to establish the run for sure.
Yeah, Bo, what do you think? Pacheco running backs have a big day?
Dude, I can see them leaning into the run game a lot this game. Everybody's expecting Mahomes to pass. I mean, if you look at the season, he's targeted 11 different receivers, I think 11 different times. So I have a feeling they're going to just kind of be playing a lot of spy, a lot of zone, and then like blitzing the house, trying to get them down to occasionally salt and peppered in there. But for us, yeah, I do see us running the ball a little bit, but I see us running the ball in the sense that we were talking about like screen passes and little dump passes out to McKinnon and to excuse me. I they throw in CEH. I don't see him using CEH that much, right? He's been off for so long. There's a lot of cobwebs to shake off if they're going to try to use him. I kind of see them using him as like what we saw Rojo this year, right? Kind of like break glass in case or as needed kind of thing.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if they threw him in just to like get him a Super Bowl rep kind of thing. I wouldn't be surprised if they threw every running back in for that reason. But between McKinnon and Pacheco, man, I don't see those other two guys getting in there too often or much at all, unless it's some weird situation or some weird play we've never seen yet. But yeah, I do kind of see them leaning heavily on the run, just for the sense that, yeah, Philly's defense is not the greatest at stopping it. What about you?
Yeah, I see Pacheco having a good game. I think he's probably disappointed with himself in his performance again. I know he had 50-something yards receiving there against the Bengals, but I think he was probably disappointed in the way he played in that championship game. So maybe he's looking for a little retribution, looking for, a little bit of, I don't want to say payback because he's not playing the same team again, but want to make a name for himself, want to get back on there. Dude always runs hard, runs angry. That's never the problem. I'd like to think the interior of that line can open some holes against that Eagles run defense. I keep waiting for the dude to have a long touchdown run. I know in the Jacksonville game, he had a 40-something yard run, and against the Raiders, he had a 30, 35-yard burst there.
3. He's so close.
The dude's got track speed, the fastest 40 time at the combine of all rookies clocked at the running back position. So needs to get going. That's going to be huge for the Chiefs, is their ability to run the game. I think it's going to set up the pass. I think that's going to keep the pass rush honest. They're not just going to be able to tee off on Patrick and rush the ball. They're going to have to take into account the running game, slipping McKinnon and them guys out on screens. I know screen passes are an extension of the running game, right? Kind of like a hybrid run. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I expect them to have a good day. I expect Isaiah Pacheco to have a good day. This is his put up or shut up time. And I was looking at his stats. I was surprised. Do you guys know how many rushing yards Pacheco had this season total?
Oh, it was ridiculous. It was like 700 and something in 11 games or something, right?
Well, he started the season is the third string option basically behind Clyde and McKinnon. Nick, do you know how many rushing yards he had this year?
I don't, but I did see that I think he had more rushing yards this year than CEH has had in any year with the Chiefs.
Right, just rushing, he had 800. He has like 830 yards rushing. which I was surprised that he had. It was almost 1,000-yard rusher, and he started the first month of the season getting mop-up time and the third string role. So yeah,
I saw that stat out there where if like he had continued that pace all season, it would have been like something like 1,400 yards or something season like that.
Yeah, Charles, I agree. He seems to he runs into his own guys, his blockers a little bit. Maybe that's a little overexcited. Maybe that's a little too eager to try to hit the hole, be a little more patient. Like you said, use your vision.
I think it's better than the exact opposite when guys don't use their blockers, though. You're like, you had a lane.
Yeah. So he's a rookie and he's still learning, and he was not very highly heralded coming out of Rutgers. Rutgers has produced some decent football players, but definitely not a football powerhouse. So a learning curve there, but I expect Pacheco to have a good game. We were talking about the AFC Championship game. We've got to talk about the Chiefs' defense in this game. That's going to be huge as well, man. The Eagles' offense can score. They are prolific on the ground and through the air, really. They can do both. They're not a one-trick pony. Chiefs' defense held the Bengals to 20 points. I'd take 20 points right now. If someone said you're going to guarantee to hold the Eagles to 20, I'd take my chances with that. You guys, Nick?
Yeah. We're not honestly sitting there thinking that the Eagles pass catchers are better than the Bengals, right?
I don't know. There's a lot of people online that seem to think so. I put that poll out last week, and it was after the Bengals game. I said, who do you think the better team is, and the receiver, and people seemed like it was clear. It was like 75-25. The Eagles were better.
Better team. I'm talking about just better receiving.
Yeah, just receivers.
Well, no, but that's what a lot of people were pointing out. There's they got AJ Brown, and AJ Brown to me is pretty comparable to Jamar Chase. T. Higgins pretty comparable to Devontae Smith, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't think this defense can't cover those guys. They were able to.
I think AJ Brown had 1,400 yards this year, which is his career high. I think Jamar Chase had 1,700 last year. So
so they're comparable for sure.
Yeah. So look, I think that the way that our secondary has come together, I trust them. After that AFC Championship game, it's hard not to trust them because they really came through in some big ways. Even some of the long pass plays, that fourth and 6 that they converted, and I think it was T. Higgins' touchdown. They were double covered. The guys just didn't get their heads around. Yeah. So they didn't make the play, but they were there, right? They were there to make the play, and you got to think that more often than not, like you saw later with the INT, threw it into double coverage. Look what happened. And Joe Burrow, no knock against Jalen Hurts. He's a great quarterback, and he's doing great things. He's only 24. Joe Burrow is a better passer, though, especially with Jalen Hurts with a hurt shoulder. You saw Jalen Hurts miss some throws in that last game. So I think it's really, for us, it's about stopping this run attack up front and kind of forcing them to throw and then letting our guys make plays. So that's the way I feel about it.
Yeah, man, our defense, it's been I think Doug said it like 3 or 4 weeks ago. Classic Spags, right? Like you start out with like one of the worst defenses, and by the end of the year, they're just sharp, right? They look good. They looked incredible against that Cincinnati team. We saw the turnovers go our way. We saw great pass breakups, just productive rushes and blitzes. What stops me in saying that it's a comparable team or like we can't defend that is like, yeah, you could probably defend those receivers, right? But the X factor is Jalen Hurts' feet, right? That guy can scorch teams on the ground. Yeah. So, the idea that we're just going to sit back and make him throw is kind of, I just don't see that happening because he doesn't have to, right? He can just run it like you were pointing out, like Lamar Jackson or somebody. But yeah, I am confident in what our defense has been doing. I've said it last show. I've said it the last couple shows. I'm loving where our line is at. I think man, they look aggressive and angry and just hungry for sacks. And I love where they're at right now. And then our rookies have just risen to the occasion and have just like, they're not rookies anymore. They're veterans. They're veterans. They play like it now too. Their communication is solid. Their positioning, their movements, and just phenomenal D. So I feel good about our defense.
Yeah, Charles brought up a good point about playing the Eagles last year. Who do they have on offense this year they didn't have last year except A.J. Brown? A.J. Brown makes a big difference. Last year, the Chiefs, they beat the Eagles fairly handily. That was towards the beginning of the year when our defense was historically bad. Tyrann Mathieu was having a down season. Some of these guys, look, Jalen Watson and Joshua Williams, the two rookie cornerbacks, have come miles this season. They showed they can hold their own. You look at this Chiefs pass defense, man, going back not just to this Cincinnati game, but the game before that, Trevor Lawrence, he's got some weapons. Zay Jones and Christian Kirk, those guys, aside from the time where they had Christian Kirk on George Karlaftis, where they got that mismatch and beat us for a touchdown, Trevor Lawrence struggled throwing the ball down the field. They weren't torching us in the air. You go to the last regular season game against the Raiders, they shut down Derek Carr and Devontae Adams. Those guys did not do a whole lot against us. The Seattle game a couple weeks before that, they were able to hold DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett and Geno Smith in check. This the last month has been playing really solid in that secondary against some of the better. Geno Smith was one of the highest rated passers and set a single season passing yards record for the Seahawks this year. They shut them down. They shut down Devontae Adams. They shut down I don't want to say they shut down, but they were able to hold the Bengals receivers last week in check enough. They were able to hold the Jaguars pretty good passing game. Just ask the Chargers how good the Jaguars passing game is in the second half of their playoff game. So, yeah, I feel confident in their ability to play good on defense, especially in the secondary. How do we think what do we think we expect to see out of the Chiefs' defensive line and the pass rush? You mentioned Jalen Hurts can get out and beat you in the run. Nick, you mentioned earlier when we were kind of just giving our overview of how we felt about the game, the similarity with the Eagles and the Ravens and Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts. The Chiefs have shown they can kind of bottle that up against that team. Maybe sell out a little bit more to stop the run, keep Jalen Hurts from getting the edge. That's the key with a lot of these running quarterbacks. Don't let them get the edge on you.
Contain.
Frank Clark is really good about not over pursuing. He can set the edge against the run. What do you think the defensive line and the linebackers, what do you think they do against the run and the pass rush as well? Chris Jones, a lot was made about him and not having any sacks in the playoffs. The dude dominated that Bengals game.
That's done.
He crushed it. That's done. That conversation's over. How do you expect that front seven linebackers and defensive line to play the run and pressure the quarterback, Nick?
Yeah, I think that's going to be a main focus, is to get pressure and to contain, to not let Jalen Hurts get outside and get the edge, like you said. The key is really going to be, can they get him down to the ground when they hit him? Because I don't know if you guys know this, but Jalen Hurts can squat 600 pounds. So he's a strong dude. So
I saw him do it once.
It's not just going to be getting there. It's going to be getting there and getting him to the ground. And if we can do that consistently and play that contain, because he's a power guy. He's not just a finesse runner. So if we could do that, I think we've got a really good chance. Now, with his shoulder, are they going to be running him as much? Or are they going to be, trying to keep him from getting hit? I don't know. But Chris Jones against Kelsey right there is going to be an interesting matchup to watch.
Yeah, completely.
Chris Jones, and then it's really just going to be the periphery. Can Clark move up the ladder again on postseason sacks? Can Karlaftis get there? Can we have some good design blitzes with Gay or with Snead to get some sacks there? So I think it's going to be interesting to see. But I think we have the favorable matchup because we have Chris Jones on our team, and he's the best defensive lineman in the league.
Yeah, dude, I completely agree. And then Brenda nailed it. Use Bolton as a spy, right? So put those four guys up there. Let them wreak the havoc that they can do. And then you just got to watch out for him or Jalen Hurts trying to break out and run on you. But I agree. I see us trying to do it with 4 guys up front. I don't see us really lining up 5 until it's either necessary or we're just trying to really get in their heads. I think we have the talent and the skill to just take 4 and have another guy back there spying Jalen Hurts as the threat he is.
Yeah, the Chiefs have shown the ability to stop the run too. I talked about stopping Devontae Adams. Josh Jacobs had the rushing title this year in Las Vegas. They stopped him. They bottled him up in that last year. Travis Etienne in the divisional round, one of the better young running backs in the league. He had a couple of nice runs, but he did not run wild all over this defense. They can stop the run. They got good defensive line. George Karlaftis has something like 8 or 9 sacks in the last 10, 11 games. Frank Clark has come alive. We're seeing playoff Frank. Chris Jones, I've said it before and I'll say it again, he's the defensive player of the year. The dude just takes over games at the defensive tackle position. He can, and not just rushing the passer, the dude can get in there. You saw him blow up a running play against Joe Mixon, tackled him for a big loss in that game against the Bengals. The guy jumps up and tips passes. Plug your ears. I see John V is joining us now. Plug your ears, John. He can tip the ball. He has a huge tipped passes there in that win again in the Super Bowl against the 49ers. The guy can do it all at the defensive position.
Yeah.
Some of these other guys like Nick Bosa, these guys that maybe have a few more sacks, and these edge players, everybody loves the edge. That's like the hot position on the defensive line that everybody wants to talk about the last few years. Those guys, they rush the quarterback, and they're responsible for setting the edge and somewhat in the run game, but they don't play in the interior of the line like that. They're not as responsible for stopping the run, batting passes. So Chris Jones is the Mahomes of the defense. When you've got the MVP quarterback on your offense and you've got the defensive player of the year on your defensive line,
hell yeah,
you got a good chance.
Right.
Nick
what are you guys thinking of our
for tackles this season? Willie Gay's coming alive. He had a sack last week in there against the Bengals. We haven't even talked about L'Jarius Sneed's coming back. He didn't play most of that game.
Just about to mention it, dude. I was just about to say, what do you guys think about our defense coming back healthy with everybody?
Yeah, Nick, what do you think? Yeah, having a veteran on the secondary is going to be huge, right? Yeah. He went down with the concussion, and we were playing all rookies back there. They did phenomenally, but Sneed is not only good in his pass protection, but he's really good at disguising blitzes and getting to the quarterback. Mm-hmm. He's an all-around great player. So he just adds some, dynamics to that defense that we just don't have without him. So it's going to be huge having him back.
Yeah, I want to say that Sneed was like one of the first cornerbacks in a decade to have 3 sacks and however many interceptions he had and total tackles. The dude runs up, can stop the run. The guy can play. They threw him on DK Metcalf. He shouted him in that Seattle game, held his own against DK, which I'm going to tell you right now, when you see DK Metcalf in person, that dude is a straight-up freak, bro.
He looks like a UFC fighter, dude. He is yoked.
He stands out. Like, you can, like, when you're sitting up there and you're looking at all the teams warming up, guys out there on the field, like, who is that big-ass dude? Holy shit, that's DK. That's a fucking wide receiver. And he's blazing fast too. You saw him the play where he ran down the guy on the interception against Arizona, coincidentally
from like his own 5. Yeah,
his own 5 ran the guy down. That dude's a freak. He held his own there. One of the best, if not the best, blitzing cornerback in the league. Dude had 4 or 5 sacks this year. This defense is coming to life, especially this last month. They've been playing really good. Dude, they can shut down the run. They can pressure the quarterback. They can cover the pass. Hell, we were talking about them holding their own against Chase and Higgins in the championship game a couple weeks ago. That was without Sneed for most of the game.
Right. He got knocked out super early, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So this Chiefs team, I feel like they're underrated. I keep seeing these. Oh, well, the only place that the Eagles or the only place that the Chiefs have the advantage over the Eagles is at quarterback and tight end. Not so fast, man. Like,
I heard an interesting analogy about that, right? Like, obviously, I have Kelsey and Mahomes, right? Who argue could be like 1 and 2, and then like if you look at like if you're ranking on like 1 through whatever 53, whatever the roster is, right? Then you have like 3 through 8. You could kind of maybe give to the Eagles, and then the next 3 would be us, and then the rest is all kind of mixed matched, right? So like I understand what people are saying, but like what Nick was saying earlier, I think this is such a well-balanced game that it's going to be cool to watch these two teams face off with the styles that they bring.
Right. I mean, people keep talking about, the defensive line is obviously better for the Eagles because they've got, what's that guy's name?
I know who you're
Tom
talking
Riddick. Okay, well, we got Chris Jones. And we got Frank Clark. Frank Clark's top 3 in sacks in the playoffs in NFL postseason history. George Karlaftis is up there in this last half of the year. Like I said, he's got 8 or 9 sacks in his last 9 or 10 games. The dude, you can almost pencil him in for a sack a game.
And a tip pass.
Linebacker core. Nick Bolton, Willie Gay. Pretty damn good linebacking core right there in the center. Look, man, these guys are this Chiefs defense is underrated. Keep talking about this Eagles defense, how good they are. I feel like Chiefs defense is just as good as the Eagles defense. They played better competition throughout the year too. We were just talking about that a little bit ago. Dude, this Eagles defense has been going up against Tyler Heineke and Daniel Jones.
Dude, how many NFC teams have we seen look? How many NFC teams have we seen look completely dominant facing other NFC teams, right? And then they'll face the an AFC team. You're like, oh, wait, they struggled to put up 19? Oh, that's strange.
Oh, and by the way, I think the Chiefs have set a record, too. They've won, 14 or 15 straight games against NFC opponents going back the last 2 seasons. Patrick Mahomes owns the NFC. His record in domes is ridiculous. His passing yards per game. I don't get this idea that the Eagles are clearly the better team. I just don't see it. I mean, all these guys were bringing up, all these points we're making. I mean, it's making me feel better about the game than I did before we did the show.
I know.
I felt pretty good already.
Kind of reminds me of the World Series with the Royals where everybody's talking up the Mets and then we waxed them.
It's fascinating, though, that the money line, like, what did you say, Scott? Like 70% of the money's on Philly right now?
Yeah.
You brought it up at the top of the hour. Like, we're the favorites to win next year's Super Bowl, but for some reason, all the money's on Philly for this one. It blows my mind, dude, that we just don't get the credit we deserve.
Yeah, those rookie cornerbacks. Jalen Watson's got an interception in both playoff games this year. Had the sick one-handed pick against the Jags. Pretty much sealed the game. Having talked about Justin Reed, he's been one of the best safeties in coverage this year. I mean, they don't even throw the ball his way.
Yep. Yeah.
So
locked down.
Yeah, he doesn't get talked about because nobody ever throws the ball towards him.
Right.
Right.
What you want.
Right. Safety is one of those positions where it's like offensive lineman. You don't want to hear the guy's name. If they don't talk about you, that means you're doing good. When you're on the offensive line or you're a safety, that means teams are beating you and you're having to play a lot and you're having to get there and make tackles and save the day. So, yeah, it's – no, go ahead.
I think we all know why the money's on the Eagles, and it's because of the ref crew that is refereeing the game.
Who is it? It's Sheffers, huh? It's fucking Sheffers. That guy. How can you let a ref a Super Bowl that has clear animosity towards one of the players on the teams in the Super Bowl?
I don't know. And people say, oh, Chiefs fans crying about the referees, or Chiefs fans, and they know way too much about these referees. The guy, someone put it out there this last week, like the number of flags he throws against the Chiefs, especially for like defensive pass interference, it's not even close how many more penalties he calls when he refs against the Chiefs than any other team.
It's a 50% increase. It's a 50 to 60% increase over the rest of his games. It's fascinating.
Right. John V's talking about refs being garbage all season. Well, not according to Roger Goodell. Roger Goodell said he doesn't remember it ever being better. I don't know if you guys saw that or not.
Oh, was that today? Is that what he said?
Yeah,
really?
ridiculous.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Roger
my
Goodell
goodness.
said something. I'm paraphrasing here because I don't remember the direct quote, but it's as good as I ever remember it being, or it's the best I remember it ever being in the NFL. Like, I guess the guy can't just come out here and say, "Oh man, they fucking suck." Right?
Right. He is the representative of the brand. You don't have
to sit there and say it's as good as you ever remember it being.
You could acknowledge what the fans are saying, right? You could just throw a bone and be like, "We understand what you're saying. Look, here we have a comprehensive process for reviewing referees, and this." You could say something, but to sit there and I don't know, try to gaslight people. Oh, it's been the best I've ever seen it. It's not, you fucking liar.
No, they're saying, "Let's go, Brandon."
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Are they saying? Oh no, they're saying Boo Earns. Boo Earns.
Yeah, Boo Earns. Yeah, no, he must not follow the @NFL officiating on Twitter account and check out their mentions very often either, because that thing is getting blown up every Sunday with people just talking about how bad it is. Someone had a comment a second ago about the defensive line. Some of the guys sounded sick. There was a little bit of a cold or something going around, but dude, you want that early in the week. They're talking about guys who were feeling sick Monday and Tuesday and getting over it now. So maybe dodging a little bit of a bullet there. Bro, those guys are going to have treatments you never even heard of available to them for cold, antibodies, or who knows, man. Those guys, they'll be good to go by Sunday health-wise. So someone put a interesting comment up about, do you think the Chiefs would want the ball first?
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
What do you guys think about that? It's interesting because somebody also had a comment about get up 2 scores on the Eagles and let Jalen run all he wants. You think maybe the Chiefs entertain the idea of trying to get the ball first and score and try to maximize possessions and maybe try to get an early lead if they win the toss? They get to pick the coin toss because they're technically the visiting team. Bo?
Right. I mean, we've had this discussion / debate before on here, right? Do you take the ball, get up early on points, make teams fret about it, or do you get the ball back at half kind of thing, right? In the Super Bowl, I'm kind of inclined to get the ball back at half. It's one of those games where nerves are high, adrenaline's high, weird stuff can happen, and I'd rather have the security knowing you're going to get the ball at halftime than hoping you're going to score on the first drive. Nick?
I agree. You should put your defense out there, get their scripted plays out of the way. And was people saying that they hangovers? Yeah, well, maybe.
No. Joel's comment there about Jim Nancy.
Oh, that's funny. No, and I definitely am a supporter of getting the ball to start the second half. You saw the way it worked with the Chiefs in the Bengals game. And look, if we get a touchdown there at the end of that first half and we're getting the ball, we're looking at going up 27-6, right? Just the opportunity to get that score right before the end of the half and then get the ball back, I think is just, I don't know, you can't measure how much that improves your chances of winning. So
something too to think of in a big game, like the nerves and the pageantry and the beginning of the game. You're amped up, right? Maybe you want to go out on defense and have that energy on defense first too, right? Instead of like trying to go out on offense and you're a little nervous or you're overthrowing a few passes maybe because you're a little amped up.
Sorry.
We're going there.
That's how we're gonna end this show. Are
you still paying John C on this 2-point conversion stuff or what, bro?
It's weird when you're on the right side of it. Like, it's weird how everybody just backs you up.
Sorry, Scotty, I fucked you up there.
Just because you jump off a bridge and you don't die doesn't mean it was the right thing to do. But Joel's agreeing with me here on the kickoff thing. Yeah, I would rather defer to the second half if we win the coin toss. Get out there and use that energy on defense to go out there. I feel like energy and excitement and nerves on defense is probably more advantageous than on offense.
Yeah, but I can't help with this game though, with going along with just that, with the nerves and the energy on defense. with this game, I would hate to have like such a buildup of adrenaline and then just have them dump it and then be tired and depleted late in the game, right? So I don't necessarily agree with having the defense go out there first. I'd rather save their energy for the last part of the game.
No, I don't know. And our team seems to respond really well to when another team scores. So even if they do go out and score on the first drive, I think the Chiefs answer back.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I think the Chiefs, if they win the coin toss, they're going to defer. And same with the Eagles. If the Eagles win the coin toss, if the Chiefs lose it, I think you see the Eagles defer as well. Yeah, Mahomes is always amped. He's said that a few times after games before, big games, where he may overthrew a guy or something. Yeah, I was a little bit worked up and overthrew it and got a little too excited. So, yeah, Jay, get Joel in there, demoralize the offense. You can get out there and get that stop. That's the ideal. I mean, that's the way to do it. Is you defer to the second half, and then your defense comes out and you get 3 and out, or you get a turnover.
Yep.
And it's basically like getting the first 2 possessions of the game. So I think you see the Chiefs go that way. Who are we thinking on the Eagles? Who do we need to worry about the most, do you think? Is it they got a really good running game. They got a good passing game. Jalen Hurts' shoulder, I don't think is still 100%. We talked about Mahomes' ankle. I don't think Jalen's 100%. So maybe you take that into account and maybe put a little bit more of your resources and your focus on the run. Nick, who do you think should Chiefs be worried about or keep an eye on most on the offense for the Eagles?
Yeah, aside from the Hurts run potential, AJ Brown, he absolutely torched us in the last time that we played him against the Titans, right?
Yeah.
So that was the game when we I think it was 27-3 or something embarrassing regular season. We lost, and so I just think that they really have to get him locked up. Probably had McDuffie on him. I think McDuffie will be able to handle him. He handled Jamar Chase pretty well. So, but that's probably the person that I'm most concerned about because he's a guy that can really take the top off your defense and just get some home run plays. So,
Bo?
I'm most concerned about sexy Batman, Mr. Jason Kelsey coming in and flashing those eyebrows at everybody, getting
fat Batman.
What's that?
I thought he was fat Batman.
They rebranded it Sexy Batman, but
okay,
it is what it is. No, Nick said it. He glanced over it. Right. Nick glanced over it. For me, it's Jalen Hurts and his feet, man. I don't know a team that's good against a mobile quarterback. It's still relatively new, and like defenses kind of just don't know how to handle it. So I'm most concerned about Jalen Hurts' feet being able to just burn us. We talked this defense up so much about how much they've been able to sharpen up and fix their mistakes that we saw earlier on in the season. But that's just one thing. Like, all right, you get so caught up in trying to cover men and your zone. Where am I supposed to be? That you kind of completely forget the quarterback's mobile, and you just seen that guy burn so many defenses this year with his feet. That's my top concern. How about you, Scott? What are you seeing?
Yeah, I could see. Look, I know everybody talks about it, and we'll get to the poll here in a second because this is kind of what I was leading into with this topic here. But I know everybody's worried about stopping, the running game, and Philly can run the ball, and this whole idea of it's been the story or the thought for the last several years where you beat the Chiefs by slowing the game down and run the ball and limiting possessions. No one beats the Chiefs doing that. The way teams have beaten the Chiefs the last handful of years is outscoring them by throwing the ball a lot and running up the scoreboard. So, yeah, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, to me, those are the guys. Like, let Jalen Hurts run around a little bit. The Chiefs have shown, John, you kind of echoed exactly what we were talking about at the beginning of the show before you joined on here. You're talking about just contain the edges and don't let Jalen Hurts beat you out wide. Don't let him get to the edge. Don't let him get to the corner on you. I think you can do that. And, I think you can do that. And you can put McDuffie and a safety over the top on A.J. Brown. I feel like you can put L'Jarius Sneed, maybe put him and William on Devontae Smith, limit those guys and depend on your linebackers, your defensive line to kind of limit the passing game. Maybe try not to sell out. I don't know that sacking Jalen Hurts a bunch is really going to be the key to the game there. So maybe be a little less aggressive on that front and maybe just don't let them get the big runs and don't let them beat you deep. I think that's doable. The Chiefs' defensive line with Frank Clark and Chris Jones and George Karlaftis, they can get pressure without having to do a whole lot too. Chiefs got speed at the linebacker position with Willie Gay, Nick Bolton, tackling machine. So, yeah, I get there. I saw Tom's talking to John V down there. The Brandon Ayuk, I think we got that, don't we? The Brandon Ayuk was saying if he was going to bet on the Super Bowl to put all his money on it, he would bet.
I don't have it on the slideshow now.
You didn't get it in?
No.
That's 2 weeks in a row, man. What are we going to do with you?
I don't know. I'll let you take it over.
Well, I sent you the picture. What more do you want me to do? But, yeah, Brandon Ayuk.
We'll take it out of your paycheck, Nick.
On the 49ers, he's played both these teams, right?
Right, yeah.
And
he knows them.
He said, look, I'd take everything I own and turn it to cash and bet it on the Chiefs to win this game. That's a man that's played both teams.
Right.
Man, Charles, we just have not figured this sneak thing out, it seems like. The short yardage, dude, that's the Chiefs' offensive bugaboo is 2nd and 3rd and 1, not being able to get a fucking yard.
We thought it was Burton. No longer that guy.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe you see a QB sneak in the Super Bowl, especially down by the goal line. Maybe it's something they've been saving up. Patrick, I think, said something along the line.
Back pass, baby.
Yeah, behind the back pass. Oh, no. Look at both.
What if it's a fake QB sneak behind the back pass out to McKinnon? There it is.
Look at. Did you see Bo's face when you said behind the back pass, Nick?
Dude, my heart sank. I felt like I was on a roller coaster. It's just like, oh no, I forgot about it.
Yeah, it's wild to think that the number one offense in the NFL struggled so much on like 3rd and 1 to get 3 feet, but they do. There's a guy, John C. right there. I'm gonna have to start paying John C. because he's backing me up now. So, I'm feeling good. Like we're breaking down all these positions and talking about this game, and man, I just feel like the Chiefs they should be the favorite in this game. I just don't get it, man.
So here, I have an interesting question for you guys. Other than like Mahomes scrambling and doing Mahomes magic, like what's your guys' go-to play that you like seeing the Chiefs run? Like for me, I'll call it out. It's like when we're in the end zone or in the red zone, and we run a jet sweep of some sort, either with Tony or like when we had Hardman at the beginning of the season with one of our super fast guys doing one of those jet sweeps, like fake reverse thing. Like there's so many options you can do from that movement, but that would be my go-to, for example. What would you guys' go-to play be? Like, what do you guys really like seeing out of the Chiefs, and what do you think is their most like productive kind of plays?
What situation?
Let's say red zone. Let's say anywhere in the red zone. You're trying to score.
I mean, I kind of like that Kelsey cross where he goes up and kind of chips and then kind of just wiggles into the middle of the field. I mean, he just seems to be able to get open in the middle of the field there in the red zone over and over and over again. It's really astounding that it happens, but that's probably my favorite play. I mean, he's done it against the Chargers. He did it against the Jaguars. I mean, he's just he's a killer on that play in the red zone.
The Chargers, yeah, crushes it.
Yeah, that play where they throw it to Travis Kelce is my favorite. It doesn't matter which kind it is.
That play to 87.
I like that play too. I like that play, and I also like it when they get Mahomes kind of rolling out to his right there in the red zone, right? And you kind of get the defense moving side to side. You can kind of get the receivers or the running back. I saw it against the Raiders, right, where he's scrambling, and they got to worry about whether he's going to run into the end zone or not. But they also got to worry about Travis Kelce, and they also got to worry about Kadarius Toney. They can fake that little pop pass that they do where they snap it and dump it off real quick.
Out of the sweep.
So,
Yep.
Yeah. So, the Kelce in the red zone, and then that'd be like 1A, and then 1B to me would be that play, like you were saying, where they do like the little jet sweep, or they fake that jet sweep and move side to side and get somebody open in the end zone or get some space for somebody. I see Kadarius Toney. I know McCall Hardman really was their ace in the hole when it comes to the jet sweeps, but Kadarius Toney.
Charles, the spin move jump shot. That's my favorite one.
That's a classic.
That's a good one too.
Classic right there.
Yeah, that's a good one. The jump pass bullet to MVS. I like that pass. I like that play too. They're in the red zone. So
the running laterally shovel pass backwards.
Do you think any of our OCs or their assistants have ever called a bullshit play just so that it breaks down and Mahomes has to scramble and like pull out something? You know what I mean? Just like, I don't know. Let's let him do it.
Yeah. Speaking of plays and favorite plays, what we like to see. Think we see something trick play like a ring around the Tony or the Rose Bowl parade diamond formation? You think Chiefs bust something like that out, Nick?
They did in the San Francisco Super Bowl. I think it's going to depend kind of how on the game's going, right? I don't think they're going to be trying anything risky or cute if it's a really tight game. But Andy Reid, he's got something cooked up. It just depends on if we're going to see it or not. I hope we do. I mean, it just makes it way more fun, right?
Maybe a thick six or something like that.
Ooh, that would be awesome.
I would love to see a behind the back pass in the Super Bowl from Patrick Mahomes.
No behind the back passes, man. No. Dude. That has disaster written all over it. You're right. There is some awesome upside to that, but the risk for me is just too great on that one.
Oh, we've got. Oh, please no, John B. Please no, don't get cute.
The flying eagle double reverse. What in the world? That sounds amazing.
Yeah, Dylan thinks there's a trick play dialed up, ready to go. I agree with Dylan. The flying eagle.
I could see something like faking a QB sneak or like that tight end QB sneak. Like I could see him trying to line up to do that and then do like a direct snap to Pacheco or McKinnon or something, right? God,
what if the trick play just is a QB sneak?
That could be, right? I don't think anybody's
they're definitely not gonna. He's got a bum ankle and he dislocated his kneecap. They're definitely not gonna do a QB sneak here.
They haven't ran that in 3 years. No way.
Yeah,
I think the only way you see that is like at the goal line, and they got to have a touchdown or something. But
would that be a play that Mahomes calls or that the coaches call?
Oh, that'd be the coaches calling.
I don't think Mahomes is going to be doing that one without the go ahead from the coaches.
Right. Yeah. What was the one the guy had the double? What was it called? The double eagle? What?
I don't know. It sounded like
the flying eagle double reverse.
Yeah, I think I saw that on Urban Dictionary one time, and it was not a football play, but yeah, I don't.
I saw that same video. I won't say where, but yeah.
Yeah, I think 6. Brenda, as I was talking about, get Allegretti in there.
That'd be tight.
Maybe get Trey Smith. Joe Tooney's been playing football a long time. Maybe get Joe Tooney into the end zone. Yeah, I feel like there's some trickery. They're gonna break it all out, right? You're not saving anything at this point. Whatever magic.
Ari Poe jump pass.
You're not leaving any tricks.
Hungry pig, right?
Yeah, you're not leaving the any trick plays in the bag. You're not leaving any bullets in the box, in the satchel going win the Super Bowl. They're not saving anything for later. So, what was the play where they threw the touchdown to Eric Fisher against the Ravens? What was that called?
Catch and release.
Catch and release.
Yeah, catch and release.
Yeah, there's something. They got something cooked up that they've been working on for a long time, and they've been holding it back, and it's ready to go. They get in the right. It's situational, right time and place, and you get in the right spot on the field, and you see the defense maybe is lined up in certain personnel. You get it going. Something we haven't talked about, and Brenda mentioned this a little bit ago. It's a ways back now, but special teams, they've been, as far as kicking anyway, they've been nails. in the postseason so far? Field goals, extra points.
What's your
How are we
confidence
feeling about
level in
special
our
teams?
special teams? Yeah, Scott, what's your confidence level in our special teams ability right now to just do their job, not make something special or make something happen, to just do what's expected of them? 80%?
I'm at 90% now with them. I was lower than that during the season, but moving towards the end of the year here, and then they've been perfect in the postseason. Butker kicked 2 50-yarders against the Jags in the divisional round. He nailed the game winner to go to the Super Bowl in the championship game. In cold weather, that was a cold game. That ball was rock hard. It was windy. He nailed that. Yeah, I feel good about Butker and company on special teams. How you feeling, Nick?
Yeah, I feel like they got it figured out, to be honest. They haven't missed any kicks in the postseason. And that kick, I know it was only 45 yards, but man, it was cold. And to go to the Super Bowl with all that stuff, cold hands for Tommy Townsend, right? Getting the spot, and just Butker nailing it through.
Snap either.
Yeah, it wasn't. So I don't know. I feel like Dumb and Dumber, right? You've totally redeemed yourself. Like, I don't know. It's just
right.
I have no concerns. I'm not worried about it anymore.
I feel similar. I'm not as confident. I wouldn't say 90. I would say I'm in the high 80s in the sense that, right, like we got a lot of things fixed. Like I'm not worried about Butker going out there and hitting a field goal right now. I feel pretty confident in that ability. I'm pretty confident our returners know to either call a fair catch or let it go and not try to make anything special happen. I'm more or less worried just about our special teams tackling ability and our ability to prevent them from running back on us. Like we saw that kind of be the big hole in the gap in our defense right there, or not defense, special teams. But more or less, I'm okay with it. That's my concern right there, the tackling aspect.
Yeah, not kicking it. We got burned against the Jaguars a little bit on that, not kicking it out of the end zone.
Right.
And guys returning and getting the ball at the 40 or the 45-yard line, short fields. Yeah, I would like to see a conservative approach from the kicking game and the returning game. On kickoffs, just boot that sucker out of the back of the end zone.
No question.
Just give it to the 25. Your defense has been playing well.
Yeah, I completely agree.
When it comes to the return thing, if your feet are in the end zone, I would like to see a conservative approach from the kicking game. Don't get cute. This has not been your masterpiece. This has not been your finest year. So, yeah, just be cool there. Play it safe. Don't try to do anything crazy.
Joel brought up a good point. This is the field that Butker got hurt on.
It was. Man, what are the odds he'd get hurt on the same field twice in one season, though?
Well, that's been a concern amongst players. I've heard all season about this turf argument, right? Like artificial turf versus. They don't like it. Right. They want more natural grass, which was weird because I thought Arizona had natural grass. I thought that was the whole point of that
like
field
outside,
out.
Right? Don't they have the field that can go outside and it actually gets real sunlight and then they wheel it back in?
That's what I was under the impression of. But then all these players are talking about how they get hurt on that field because of maybe it's, I don't know, the type of grass. Maybe it's like some kind of weird synthetics to deal with the Arizona heat.
Yeah, well, I think originally it was natural grass, and then they came out with this field turf or whatever the stuff that was supposed to be just better than actual real grass, and it hasn't been at all. So,
like the ground up tire shit.
What are we thinking Butker's range is indoors? Field goal range. You think he's kicking any 60-yarders?
Yeah.
Game on the line, they put him out there for a 60, yeah.
I'm not talking necessarily game on the line, but just, I mean, they got the ball and it's a 59-yarder.
No, they don't put him in.
No? Think they punt?
I don't think so. Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, I'd love to.
Range then? I mean, other than game online, gotta have it.
56.
55 max, yeah, somewhere right there. Like I just feel like it drastically drops off over that. I mean, he's made some clutch ones over that, but man, just with if you look at the totality of the season, my confidence level just isn't there.
Right. John's saying it's Pete Moss. I think Pete Moss was my high school shop teacher. I don't know that he's making any field. John B saying he doesn't need to hurt himself. I agree with that. Trying to strain, maybe trying to kick too hard, planting too hard, slip and fall again. I just don't see that happening again. I'll be surprised. I'll be surprised if that happens again. But I'd like to see him kick from 55 to 60. Yeah,
if it's 58 yards anywhere at any point in the game, are you putting him in, Scott? If you were the coach,
there you go, Carroll.
58
coming
yards
through for us.
Yeah, I'd probably have him kick 58. You need points.
that's on the 43, right? That's what 58 is. I think so. It's either 15 or 18 yards.
If the ball is at I mean, if you kicked it from the 50, that's a 60-yarder, right? So you'd be on there 40 something.
It's like a 15-yard difference from where the ball's at. You got the end zone and then like the 3
or like 6 yards. Yeah, but you got 10 yards because of the end zone. So if you kick it from the 50-yard line, that's a 60-yarder.
Yeah, Brenda, I saw that too. I noticed that in that game. He's got a different approach. He's not taking as many steps.
No.
So I don't
He
know.
talked about having to adjust to that too.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
He's going to be fine. Bucker's going to be fine.
Yeah, you have to go back to the drawing board beginning of the season after training all off season with one style. Tough on that guy. Looks like he's getting it where he needs to go. Bo knows facts on that for that. I agree with that.
I deal with it all the time.
Black sand mix or something. We're getting deep into some grass here, man. Black sand mix.
Yeah, chinch bugs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nitrogen.
It's a mix of Kentucky bluegrass and California sinsemilla.
This here's Alabama creeping bean.
Yeah, I agree with Charles. Let's just hope he's kicking a bunch of extra points. Yeah, I'm good with that.
If he just locks in his point afters, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, no doubt.
So did you guys I think I sent this to the chat earlier. See this stat with oh shit, hold on. Keep talking. I gotta reconnect my thing for some reason.
Okay. Reed or Kelsey Bowl? Which one has a better ring? Chat, I'm curious what you guys have. What your opinion is on this. Kelsey Bowl? I mean, I bought the shirt, so I mean, obviously you guys don't mind.
Bring it back up in a second.
But it is the Reed Bowl. He coached both of these teams, won with both of these teams.
You got to take the banner off so you can read the graphic on the bottom when you bring it back up. But.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know you were trying to answer. So I don't know if you can read this on your guys' screens, but it says Patrick Mahomes has 32 touchdowns. And that's passes in the playoffs since 2018, and no one else has more than 17.
Right.
That's like one of those stats that doesn't even sound real.
No. Let's just think about how many more playoff games he's played than everybody else. The guy's won more playoff games before age 28 than anybody in the history of the NFL. The dude has been in overtime of the AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl every year since that. I mean, for that stat, right? If you play that many more games than anybody else, it's going to be a little bit easier to have any more touchdown passes than anybody else.
But you got to be winning the games.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. It goes hand in hand, right? It's like chicken or the egg. The guy's played probably at least 5 or 6 more playoff games than anybody else has played in that time span.
I didn't see that 2018 qualifier. It didn't seem real. I was like, no way, 17. But I guess, makes sense.
Yeah. Chiefs put up 44. Yeah, they did. Bo and I were there to see it in person too. So that was a fun time. That was a good trip.
Brag it up.
Yeah,
Fired up.
that was a great trip.
Yeah, Dylan Moore wins. He did play one wild card game, didn't he?
He did.
The Steelers was a wild card game, correct?
Better than a bye.
Better than a bye week. Playing the Steelers, a garbage team.
Old
Ben.
Yeller, Big Ben.
Yeah, old Yeller took him out back and sorry, Ben.
Didn't mean to break you.
Time for you to go. Yeah, John's talking about that Hassan Reddick guy. He's pretty nasty on the Eagles defense. But
No need to
Dylan, you know. No worries. I say shit that's wrong all the time. Just nobody notices. So
Yeah, he had this whole 2-point conversion thing that he was talking about.
Right.
Gotta poke that bear.
Right. We got it.
So, gentlemen, tickets have gone down to $3,200 a ticket for the Super Bowl. That's damn near $2,000 less than it was a week ago.
Yeah.
I might have had enough drinks. I might buy one right now.
Buy two.
Dude, if you do it live.
I'd have to take race car. Right? I don't think I'd be like,
Buy
hey,
three.
bye, honey, I'm going to the Super Bowl by myself.
Buy three.
Later.
Well, no, but then you get to save all that money on the wedding.
Hey, yeah, right. Like, hey,
Right? You won't be getting married anymore.
that.
Right. You living in Vegas? Just go get a shotgun wedding, man.
Right, just the little white chapel or whatever.
Go to the drive-through wedding.
Drive through dressed up as Elvis. Both of
There
us
you
dressed
go.
up as Elvis.
So
That'd be
Tom
pretty
Hood
sweet,
is saying, Tom is saying 3 touchdown passes and Mahomes will pass Marino in playoff touchdown
wow.
passes. That's crazy.
How many touchdown passes does he get in this game, Nick?
And the over under, I think it's 2 or 2.5. I'm gonna go 3 or 4.
You can't go 3 or 4. You got to pick one number.
I'm gonna go 3 or 4. No, I'm just fucking around. I'll go 4.
Like golf.
I'm gonna
Did
go
you
big.
shoot an
I'm gonna go
84
big.
or an 87?
Yeah,
4?
and 2 of them are gonna go to that guy right there.
2 touchdowns to Travis.
I think so.
Bo, how many touchdown passes for Patrick?
I got 2 touchdown passes and a rushing touchdown to go with the over at 3.
What's the Super Bowl record for Super Bowl touchdown passes in a game?
Is that
Someone in the chat or someone's got their phone. I'd be interested to see what the record is.
Was that Brady? I know Brady set the yardage record.
I want to say
Manning.
Steve Young threw a ton of touchdown passes against.
Yeah, it's Steve Young. It's 6. It's
Steve Young. 6
6 for Steve Young.
God damn.
against the Chargers.
Was it against the Chargers?
Talk about getting old Yellered. That Chargers Super Bowl. Was it like 55-10 or something?
You know, John, I completely agree. It's going to drop more. I'm going to just drive out to Arizona. I got some friends that live there. And if it drops, I'm definitely going to get it. If not, I'm just going to go hang out with my friends.
Go,
in Arizona
Dylan.
and watch the game.
Yeah,
6 touchdowns.
I was gonna go bold and say he was gonna like set a record, but 6 is a lot. I feel like they're gonna run the ball too, especially if they get down close to the end zone against that rushing defense. So I think maybe Pacheco snipes a couple, right? But yeah, I'm going 3 touchdown passes from Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
Going 3 touchdown passes. I think Kelsey definitely scores at least 1 touchdown. You know, it's weird. We were talking about his lack of touchdowns scored. What up, Chris? Good to see you, man. Our guy Chris Daly, Chris Weekly,
Better late than never, sir.
Chris Monthly. Yeah, I can see, like I said, Pacheco getting a couple down there close to the goal line, them running the ball in there. But give me a hell of a game.
Oh, I'm so stoked. I'm so stoked for this game.
No,
John,
we're not
not going to
going
Arizona.
to AZ. I should have gone. I'm kicking myself for not going, especially now that we got freezing rain and snow coming down outside.
Well,
Not like
some airline tickets for you all right now. Let's see what it is.
Right.
I just booked 4 plane tickets to Las Vegas.
Hey-o. $99. Guys, $99. You can fly to Vegas this weekend. You just got to fly Spirit Airlines. That's all.
That's what I'm flying out there because I want the risk of maybe not making it, you know.
I'm going to tell you right now, Spirit was just like flying Southwest. It's not that much different, really. It's not. Spirit was not bad. I've flown Spirit a couple times. It was not terrible, like everybody makes it out to be.
Do you guys know who the announcers are going to be for the Super Bowl?
It's on.
Was it Tony Romo?
Is it Tony and Jim? No way.
Yeah, I think
No
so.
way.
Super Bowl announcers.
That's our plan next year, John C.
Yeah, we're not quite big time like that yet. We don't have any sponsors or
our apps are in, but
any credentials. But we're working on that. We're working on some cool stuff for the off season and for next season. So
is it Joe and Troy? Is that what John V's saying? Kevin Burkhardt. It's gonna be Joe Buck and Kevin Burkhardt.
Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olson.
Oh, yeah. Greg Olson.
It will not be Greg Olson. That's not the A squad.
No, I saw him do an interview.
What network is it on? I don't even know what channel it's on.
I don't know, guys. Here, let's
all this in-depth analysis, and I don't even know what.
Hurry up, Nick.
I mean, surely someone's got a phone, right?
Okay.
I can't read that. What does it say?
Damn. It says, who are the announcers for Super Bowl 57 on Fox? Top broadcasting team of Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olson will get their first opportunity to call a Super Bowl together when they take the seats at State Farm Stadium.
I guess that is the A squad on Fox.
Wow, is that changing of the guard? Greg Olson always brings his brother, and he has a headset and a microphone, and he never says a thing. I got to get that job. Like, hey, Greg Olson's brother, hit me up, man. I can do that.
I meant to say this too when we had some more people. If you're looking for some AFC Championship gear that's not an arm and a leg, Hy-Vee in the KC area, I got this shirt here, $25. Conference champion.
Just check out the #1 sports podcast in America, the Kelsey, the New Heights. You go right off there.
They also had the Super Bowl Lvii pint beer glass. It's pretty sweet. For like $9, I want to say. Hy-Vee's got a bunch of cool Super Bowl shit, and it's not like Rally House or the Chiefs Pro Shop. And bro, $40 for a T-shirt is $85 for a hoodie. Oof, man, it's getting a little rich, bro, for my blood. I'll wait until like July when it's on sale on Chiefs.com. That's what I did with my Chiefs Super Bowl hoodie the year they won the Super Bowl. I went on like 11 months later or whatever, it was almost a year after the Super Bowl, and bought it for half price. So, what else? Anything else you guys want to talk about in this game?
We got a couple of polls that we haven't got to yet.
Yeah,
I got.
I don't even want to do that, dude. I don't even want to do the one poll because the guy is a fucking clown, and like,
that's great.
He's fucking jinxing the team, bro. Like,
is he out? Is that why?
We won't do the other poll. All right, Scott. We can do the main poll though.
Yeah, we kind of skipped past it when we were talking about that, but we can bring it up.
If you guys are curious what we're talking about, just go to our Twitter account. You'll see both the polls. We're just not going to feature one today.
I just don't want any bad juju because we've been undefeated since that fucker's been locked up, and now he's bonding out 3 days before the Super Bowl. Yeah, this was the poll we talked about earlier. Talking about what was more important for the Chiefs, stopping the run or stopping the pass. Pretty overwhelming result there, stopping the run. I don't think the key to beating the Chiefs is running the ball. The key to beating the Chiefs is throwing the ball and putting up a bunch of points.
Scoring a lot of points.
So I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
Huh, dude, I agree with you.
I don't
Like,
agree with the
I've seen
majority
our
of the
secondary
people, but-
kind of be the weaker link this entire season, and that's kind of like my threat or my worry, especially when you face a team that has an elite level QB that can see the entire field, knows what you're lined up in, and knows when you're going to be out of position. I haven't seen any great running backs torch us really that bad this year. I mean, you name it. We faced Jacobs, Henry. I mean, we faced a gambit of great running backs. So I agree with you. I'm kind of shocked at this, but maybe I'm just a little too close to the team or just watching them too closely.
No, I don't think so. Here, let me pull up. I got a few stats here that I threw together for some keys here in our quest for the Lombardi Trophy number 3. So obviously we know in passing yards and touchdowns, right? The Chiefs are first, the Eagles are 8th and 15th. This is team stats. It's a little bit skewed because Hurts was out for a couple of games, and they had, I think, who was that? Gardner Minshew in. So
yeah, Minshew mania.
Yeah, Minshew mania. Turnover differential, right? I've had this on every week for the past half season. Turnovers are going to be huge in this game, right? The part of the reason that the Eagles are doing so well is that they're third with the +8. The Chiefs got down to a -3. So I don't know if this includes postseason, but I think this may have just been a regular season stat. I didn't check. But turnovers are going to be huge, and if the Chiefs can protect the ball, we're going to be in a good spot. So this is rushing offense, yards per carry. The Chiefs actually had a higher average in rushing yards per carry than the Eagles did, which I was surprised when I saw that. So
Wow, yeah,
we're 11th in the league at 4.7. They're 12th at 4.6, and then on rushing defense, we were 19th at 4.4, and the Eagles were 24th at 4.6. So I think that us running the ball and being able to limit their running, I mean, that's going to be a big part of it. But I think more our ability to run the ball is going to be the big deal there. And also there's been some narrative out there that the Eagles are really just kind of blowing people out. And I know it happened in the postseason, but if you look at their point differential, they only had a six points over the course of the season better point differential than the Chiefs, right? We scored the exact same amount of points as the Eagles have this year, I think, including the postseason now. So we're pretty evenly matched. And so I think it's really going to come down to turnovers and us being able to establish the run, which will open up our passing game. So,
yeah, I mean, you wouldn't think by looking at that right there that the Eagles are the overwhelming favorite.
Didn't the Eagles have the highest yards per game though? I know you had yards per carry. I think they had the highest yards per game.
Are you talking about rushing yards?
Yeah. Excuse me.
Bears
Sorry.
had the most rushing yards this season, from what I saw.
Yeah, that's because Justin Fields was a beast.
I know it was like over 150 yards a game or something like that. Might be mixing up my stats. I've had a few.
Yeah, John, I do remember. I remember seeing J-Lo, and he had a comment up there just saying, "Oh, where the fuck did it go?"
Oh, Rihanna's the halftime performer, correct?
Yeah, that was terrible.
That had like
terrible.
that Shakira gif that came out of it with her like flipping her tongue. That was pretty funny. That was a great.
So
I mean, the best ever was Janet Jackson, right? And the wardrobe malfunction with Justin Timberlake.
Janet Jackson Super Bowl.
I remember watching that and I was like, "Did that just happen?"
Yeah, it was a little weird. I was watching that.
Shakira.
What is your guys'
halftime
favorite
show with my daughters, who were like 6 and 3 at the time or something? It's just like, this is not really child entertainment. Being the grumpy old dude.
They put this out here for kids.
Yeah, and then Nick went out and told some kids to get off his lawn. And
I did.
Told them to stop skateboarding on the sidewalk.
Get off my grass. Who's been your guys' like favorite halftime Super Bowl performer throughout the years?
I just told you mine.
No, yeah, all right. Fair enough.
Who'd you say, Scotty?
Janet
Janet
Jackson.
Jackson and Justin
Oh
Timberlake.
yeah,
But like Scott's been a Janet
Wardrobe
Jackson fan his
malfunction.
whole life. I remember
the
him
wardrobe
having
malfunction.
on the
Yeah,
wall.
no. I don't know. I mean, I don't really care that much about the halftime show. My daughter really likes the song from that
You have
Trolls
a
movie.
guitar amp behind you, though. There's been so many great artists who perform there.
Yeah. Michael Jackson, Once Upon a Time, was pretty sick when he did
Dude,
it.
that show was sick. I actually rewatched that a couple years ago on YouTube. That was awesome. He was a hell of a performer.
So my favorite recent one, Justin Timberlake, because I remember my daughter was really young and she loved that song, and she was just not into the game at all. But as soon as that song came on and they were playing that, Can't Stop the Feeling or whatever, she just lost it and started dancing and stuff. So that's been my favorite one recently.
Yeah.
Dude, for me, Bruno Mars, when he came out, he had this DW drum set that was green with gold trim. I know, like Scott, you're a uniform guy, right? You notice like what colors the uniforms are. Like, if I see a drum set, I am checking out the hardware, the cymbals, which brand it is, right? Like, I'm just a drum nerd. Bruno Mars comes out in like one of the highest end drum sets out there, right? And just comes out and performs his drum solo and then goes right into his song. That was classy.
Yeah.
Tip of the hat to old Mr. Mars.
Yeah. Got the king of pop. Laney likes Michael Jackson.
Didn't he start up like in the like rafters, right? Or something like that? Didn't he shoot up out of a thing in the rafters?
Did he catch on fire or something? No, that was a Pepsi commercial.
Pepsi commercial, right?
He caught on fire. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. John's giving me a hard time for saying Janet, but I mean, how many other Super Bowl halftime shows do you really remember? Was it last year they had Snoop and Dre and it was fucking awful. It sounded terrible. Like they had
Eminem and 50 Cent.
Dude, they had this stupid fake looking downtown Compton like.
No, that was them trolling that dude. What was the guy that owned the Death Row Records?
Whatever it wasn't good.
Suge Knight, because Suge Knight ran over that guy. Remember that? And it was at that place.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It wasn't good. It looked stupid.
I don't know. I'm a grumpy old
It
dude.
sounded awful. Yeah, the music sounded awful. And listen, like, you can't sing Snoop and Dre and Eminem edited radio halftime Super Bowl appropriate. Just sounds stupid. You know what I mean? I don't. So
John C's
going fucking
the boss.
The boss, Bruce Springsteen, man. There you go. Going a ways back. Rolling Stones was pretty good too. Hefe's in the house. What's up, Hefe?
Hey, Hefe. Yeah, the Stones was good.
Stones was good.
I'm soloed for some reason. Nick
Cam there. Speaking of that, John B, where are Tony and Nick?
Yeah, what the fuck?
They're preparing for their wings they got to eat. They're
can't handle it. They know that we just bring up the wings as soon as we saw them. That's why.
They've got the oven on and they're just like licking the top, like getting their tongues scarred up for these wings they're gonna have to eat.
Prepare your minds and your buttholes for the hot sauce.
Dude, the Apollo sauce.
Yeah, luckily Nick does work in the ER for you guys. He'll be able to
he's gonna
manage and maintain for you guys.
Yeah.
He's not just going to be the president. He's also going to be a member after that wings.
Right. So for those who don't know, John V, our good buddy here, the king of Ohio Niners fans, he has a show. It's really good. It's the Locker Room Rant. They were kind enough to have us on a few weeks ago for NFL playoffs preview show. It's a good time. It's hilarious. Those guys are really cool. They talk all kinds of sports too. It's not just football or Niners or anything like that. They got a Browns fan on there. They've got a Bills fan on there. John V is obviously a 49ers fan, but do they talk NBA? They talk soccer. They talk NFL football. They talk everything. So if you haven't checked out their channel, go check it out. But when they had us on for their playoff preview show, we made a bet. Whoever's team made it furthest in the playoffs, the loser so the winner was basically whoever's team made it furthest didn't have to eat this super hot wing sauce from the Hot Ones show. It's called Apollo sauce. And for those of you who don't know, like a habanero is 150,000 Scoville units or whatever of heat. This Apollo sauce is like 2.5 million. It's made out of the Reaper and some other ghost pepper or whatever mixed together.
Apollo pepper.
Right. And so we obviously had the Chiefs, and they had the Bills and the Niners and the Nick, shit Nick, as they like to call him. He's a Browns fan, so he had to pick another team. And why he didn't pick the Eagles, I'll never know. But he picked the Cowboys for some reason. And, of course, the Chiefs went to the Super Bowl, and all those other teams got knocked out. So now on the locker room rant, those guys got to eat this super hot wing sauce that's like blister your tongue hot, and it's going to be hilarious. John B's terrified. I'm terrified for you, John. So
I did offer to purchase the bottle for those guys. So, John, I got you, man.
That was stand up. That was a stand up move on both.
It's the least I could do, right?
Right.
And we got Charles asking, what's go-to Super Bowl food?
Super Bowl
Nachos.
food.
Nachos all day, every day.
Yeah.
Melted cheese in my mouth and football makes a happy bow.
Yeah. We got to have, I mean, we always have some sort of barbecue, right? Being here in KC. We've always got ribs or brisket, some sort of barbecued smoked meat. I love, dude, classic, but Rotel dip, man. The Velveeta and Rotel with chips, cheese dip. That's got to have that going on.
Bro, bacon wrapped Smokies.
There you go.
Yeah, I will devour those.
I need to be going to Dylan's watch party. Sounds like there.
Dude, one of the first Chiefs games I went to with y'all, like one of the tailgates had those, and I probably had like 30 before I went in. It was ridiculous how many of those I ate.
Yep. Tom's on board with you, Bo.
Nachos and cheese.
Nacho, man.
I'm a chicken wing guy, man. That's good. Chicken wings are like my favorite thing, so it's hard to beat chicken wings.
Dude, put all three of those together. Got yourself a fancy meal.
Yeah, just see what Brenda's going to be snacking on down there on the Gulf Coast. Down there.
Some peeling shrimp.
Yeah, probably some shrimp. I would be my guest down there.
Grilled pepperoni and garlic bagel chips with your choice of dip.
See, John's got the advantage because John owns and runs a restaurant here. So John's like a chef.
That's fancy as fuck, dude.
Yeah, so he's going, I mean, I was like Rotel dip. And John was talking about grilled pepperoni bagel chips.
It's like, oh, I like a dry aged.
yeah.
It's a cheese reduction.
Right.
All right, Brenda, what kind of ribs, though, are you doing?
Oh, there we go.
Like spare ribs, St. Louis, baby back? What we got going on?
I thought Brenda would have some seafood going on down there on the coast, man.
Brenda's the winner of our first giveaway, right? That's why
Brenda.
She won I know this name so well.
Yeah, Brenda won the Mahomes prize pack earlier in the season. So I think John C was our Travis Kelce prize pack winner, right?
John C was, yeah.
Yeah, John C was the
Dude,
winner.
Sadly, we're behind. We're only like 12 followers away on Twitter from our next giveaway. I don't know if you guys know that.
Well,
it's like right there.
No, we're more than that. Like 200. The next giveaway.
199. Scott's right.
Right. So the next giveaway we're working on was supposed to be 250 subs here on our YouTube channel, which we're over 300 now.
Yep.
Thank you so much to everybody who subscribes and watches the show. We really appreciate it. That's cool as hell. And 2,500 Twitter followers, which I thought we'd get to before we got to the 250 on the subs, honestly. But Nick put in some good work on the bite-sized clips and putting some shorts out there that kind of ramped up and supercharged the subscription number there on the YouTube channel. So, bacon wrapped jalapenos. There we go. Carol's got.
Ooh, getting hungry.
Yeah, John C's got that Jack Stack seasoning. He'll probably make something. That steak seasoning is so good.
Whoa, we got two Scots here. What's going on?
That happened.
Yeah, my internet's going out. So my Wi-Fi has been garbage for the last week, and of course, United Fiber keeps telling me, "Oh, I mean, no, your upload speed's good. This is good." And I'm like, "Well, that's funny because my shit ain't working." So, been
Hey, we
doing
got
that.
Kara. What's up,
I'm
Kara?
on the. Hey, what's up, Kara? Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. So I'm on the T-Mobile Trimble whatever signal you get out here over the air internet. So I lost y'all there for a second, but yeah, everybody's got some good grub going on. Brenda's got St. Louis ribs. There you go. Nice.
Yeah, that's the best. One of my favorite ones right there. St. Louis.
Yeah, that is.
I
like baby back.
my ribs are just so hit and miss though, man. It's tough.
That's because I don't think your smoker, your temperature gauge works, dude. Like, I don't think you're cooking with the same temp every time.
It's like I've never used it or anything, but I just don't think it's good.
Well, no, I've been over your house a bunch of times, and didn't you put your probe in there and it was like 40 or 50 degrees off all the time from what it said it was on the?
I don't know what you're talking about, man. One of the top 3 steaks I've ever had in my life has been at this guy's house.
Oh yeah, well, we're talking steaks. We're talking ribs though, smoker.
Oh, excuse me.
But yeah, we got you.
All right,
Yeah,
Chiefs win the Super Bowl. We'll have a steak party at my house for anybody that wants to come.
There you go. There you go.
Any other? Nick has the process down for cooking meat, man. Like
he does.
You wouldn't look at it. He looks like he doesn't eat anything, but man, can this guy throw down some food?
Oh damn! I don't know if it's Kara or Carl. Let us know in the comments. Stuffed blackened flounder. That sounds good.
I think that's
Who do we have in our chat? What are you guys doing up? Damn.
Where are you watching from, Cara? I don't recall seeing you on here before.
Yeah.
Appreciate you
joining.
joining.
You're right though. I think my smoker's a little.
You know what? Is that our guy Mike down there in Lvii Beach, Florida? I think that's our guy Mike that we met on Twitter here recently. So
nice.
I want to say that was him, but the last name sounds familiar. So thanks for joining. Appreciate it. The more the merrier. What anybody got any Super Bowl memories that stand out? Crazy plays or games or they're showing the Devin Hester return the opening kickoff for a touchdown in the Super Bowl against the Colts. That was pretty wild. I was thinking the other day of the Rams. What was that? That was the Rams Titans Super Bowl where the dude reached out and was like
a yard short?
A yard short or something.
Navarro, Florida. Yep. Cool.
Okay, yeah, that's our guy Mike, I think, and Cara must be his wife. Maybe.
Nice.
So, yeah, dude, they're Lvii Beach is fucking dope down there. That's right down there, in the Panhandle, not too far from. Not too
John's
far.
here. Let's talk about Super Bowl memories, and he's.
Oh yeah.
So,
your team's won fucking 6, John, or 5 or whatever it is, man. What are you talking about? You're my age. You've got some 49ers Super Bowl memories. I remember the 49ers absolutely shithousing the Broncos and John Elway. How can you not like that?
Yeah. So I think it was the Patriots Rams Super Bowl. I don't know if you were here yet, Scott. You might not have moved up. There was just this killer ice storm that hit, and we lost power for I think like 2 weeks at the house. And we didn't have any power. We didn't have any heat in the house because it wasn't a gas heater. I guess it was electric heater or something, whatever, or maybe it had like an electric starter. But my grandparents were doing their RV thing. They would leave for the whole winter and go winter in Arizona or somewhere nice. And so we went into their house to watch the Super Bowl because we didn't have power, and we couldn't figure out how to get their direct TV to work because we were just it wasn't our shit. And so we were sitting there. We finally like got this like tiny little TV that they had that had rabbit ears, and I remember Mom and Dad and me sitting there. And Scott, were you there for that?
I don't remember.
It had been before you moved. I think it was right before you moved. Like we were sitting there watching that Super Bowl on this like tiny TV in their living room. And it was like one of the most exciting games that, because a lot of the Super Bowls in the 90s were kind of shitty games, right? There's just like a lot of blowouts. And that was actually like a sick game. The Patriots won on the last minute field goal. So Super Bowl memories outside of the Chiefs memories, which are obvious, that's one that sticks out to me.
My favorite Super Bowl memory was the Seahawks versus the Broncos when Manning had just gone over. First play of the game, the center hikes the ball over Manning's head, and he has to rush back to the end zone and take a safety on the opening drive, man. And I think somebody actually bet a safety to score first, and they made like there's some ungodly number, like $600,000 on that $50 bet or something, because he just randomly picked safety to be the first scorer in the Super Bowl on a prop bet. Unreal. And then it was against the Broncos, so like I just remember like loving that. Like they got their asses blown out that game. I think they lost by 20-some points, 28 points or something like that. It was a great day to be a Bronco hater, that's for sure.
I lived in Denver when that game happened.
Yeah.
So I just remember going to work the next day and being like, "Woo, how about them Broncos, baby?" Because everybody was just they're very arrogant, right?
Yeah. I remember watching that Super Bowl with doesn't look like Joel's here anymore. I don't see Jay Cuz in there, but watch that game with cousin Joel. Did this Super Bowl party with this friend of his down there in Gardner, and it was just great. I played the squares game, the Super Bowl squares, where you get the numbers right, the grid,
the point totals.
And I want to say I hit like 3 of the 4 quarters on this thing and won a shit ton of money. And the Broncos got their ass whipped, and it was glorious.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. Hard to beat that. I'm trying to remember some other Super Bowl. I'm trying to go further back.
That squares game is a great Super Bowl game to play regardless. So anybody doesn't know what we're talking about. You just get everybody. It's kind of like picking a pool for childbirth, right? You have all the points. You have 0 through 9 going this way, 0 through 9 this way, and then just a grid of numbers. And you pay per grid how much, right? And then there's a total pool. And at the end of each quarter, if your numbers line up, like how does it? It's like
if it's like 7. So at the end of the first quarter, if it's 17-10, you take 7 and then you take 0 and you match.
Yeah, you take the last number.
That square is.
Yeah,
wins a quarter of the pot or whatever. And if you got 100 squares, so shit. I mean, if you got people you sell $5 a square, you're talking some pretty good coin. If
especially
you win
per quarter too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I hit 3 quarters in the squares game that year down there at that Super Bowl party. Won a bunch of money. Watched Peyton Manning, old horse face, and the Broncos get destroyed by the Seahawks. That was a good one.
The party I was at for Super Bowl Lvii, the one we won it, I refused to do squares. I was the only one at the party. I was like, "No, we're doing it. You got to do it." I'm like, no way in hell you're getting me to do this right now. Not on this game.
Yeah.
No. Catch me later.
Yeah, I remember the Bills losing. I remember the Bills losing 4 straight Super Bowls. If you can get on ESPN online, I think they've got it on there where you can watch those 30 for 30s, the 4 falls in Buffalo, where they break down those 4 seasons and the 4 Super Bowl losses for the Bills. It's actually a really good documentary talking about the teams and how it changed. Bills Cowboys. I don't even remember that. Oh yeah, I remember
back-to-back Super Bowls, and it's like
that was like the early '90s match.
Yeah, I just remember thinking the Bills having to face the Cowboys again, being like, God dang, we got to do this again. They got destroyed in both games. That was.
I remember the Green Bay Pittsburgh one. Aaron Rodgers won the Super Bowl. I hate the Steelers. Anybody who watches this show knows I hate the Steelers. They're right up there with the Raiders and the Broncos for me as far as franchises I despise. And watching them lose that game to Aaron Rodgers, Jordy Nelson, K-State Wildcat, local kid here, played in what high school? He played from the small high school in Kansas, rural Kansas. I believe he Super Bowl MVP in that game?
Jordy Nelson?
Or did they give it to Rodgers? I can't remember. He had a huge game.
I don't remember Nelson getting the MVP.
Jordan, I can't
remember.
remember.
Rodgers got an MVP, and he's only won one.
Yeah, I don't remember if he got the MVP or not, but I just remember that was a lot of fun. We had a party at this chick's house, and had a ton of good food. And, that was back in the drinking days for me, and we had just had a bunch of liquor and just got partied up and had a great time and watched the Steelers lose the Super Bowl, which to me didn't hardly get any better than that.
When I came of drinking age, it was the middle of the Patriots dynasty. So there's so many Patriots Super Bowls I've just blacked out, don't remember at all.
Aaron Rodgers was the MVP for that one, Scotty.
Was he? What was Jordy Nelson's line in that? He had a huge game though.
Dude, that Packers team was lit. They had Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, and who was their tight end?
He had 9 catches for 140 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, 6 catches for 140 touchdown. Had a huge game. Rural Kansas too, man. Jordy Nelson, K-State Wildcat, local kid. That's cool when you see guys like local dudes like that have a big game. Yeah, a lot of fun. Looking forward to the Super Bowl coming up here Sunday in Phoenix. Chiefs are winning this game, man. It's going to happen. Patrick's getting the second ring. It's happening.
Oh yeah,
it's happening. The Eagles to me have played in the weaker conference and just have not played the level of competition and are not as battle tested as the Chiefs are. And you saw a lot of chinks in the armor too with the Eagles when Jalen Hurts got injured. And I know they had Gardner Minshew in there, but they were losing games and they were playing close games, and the Cowboys were able to light up their defense a little bit. That didn't have anything to do with Jalen Hurts being injured. So they brought him back. They lost to the Commanders, right? They lost to Taylor Heineke, I want to say. They're beatable. They're beatable. No, I don't have a Jordy Nelson jersey. Unlike our friend Tony, I can't wear jerseys of other teams, man. I can't do it.
Can't do it.
I cannot wear gear of another NFL team. It's just not going to happen.
You know what? Hold on one second. I bought something. I got to show John V because he'll appreciate this.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, no. Stay tuned, John. You're gonna like this. This is pretty dope. But
cheers, John. Thank you for that.
Yeah, cheers to you, John. Appreciate you, guy. That's I know it's tough, like getting over that loss, and he's told the story a couple of times on this show that him and I used to do, this English NFL show, Shank Club NFL. That's where we got hooked up together. And then I've heard him tell it on his Locker Room Rant show about him going into that Super Bowl against the Chiefs in Miami and them losing. And then he went on this boat ride tour thing the next day, and it was just all Chiefs fans on this boat ride gloating. And he was John takes the games hard. He takes the losses especially hard.
Speaking of getting like other teams' gear, I'm not one to do that either. I rarely do that. But there is one player that I've just idolized my whole life, and that's Joe Montana. He's the reason I'm a Chiefs fan, man. He got traded there. I was a young kid following him. I was just like, all right, I gotta go with my boy. So I went with Joe Montana, became a Chiefs fan, been one ever since. Went to an estate sale in Vegas randomly here this weekend, and I picked up this bad boy. This is a football signed by Joe Montana and Dwight Clark, infamously the catch, not the catch ball, but the two involved in the play.
Yeah,
for $80, bro. Like what?
Yeah, that's a good score.
Oh, dude, I saw that and I was just like, no way.
I got it.
Hold on. Certificate of authenticity, just like here we go. I'll buy some 49ers memorabilia.
Just turn it into a sports memorabilia episode. Scott went to go get some shit.
He's like, let me show and tell, guys. It's show and tell now. I don't think I have any other team sports gear. I'm trying to think if I have any other football. Like I have some 49er stuff that's more Montana.
Bo
gear
will remember this from the old bedroom there at the house in Rio Rancho. The old Joe Montana Chiefs pennant.
Hey, I have that.
Oh,
I had
yeah.
that. That's legit.
Yep. And then found the folks, the parents came through a box of old
All right, hold on,
Chiefs
Joe.
stuff from when we were a kid.
Show and tell. Show and tell.
1979 Chiefs pennant here. Came across some old stuff.
Remember when pennants were like a thing? It was like a commonly accepted form of celebrating your team. You would hang up pennants in your room. Oh, we're about you guys are about to see Scott's basement.
Oh, I've broadcast down here before. How do I? Don't hold the camera that close to your ugly face, dude.
John V wants to know: does your pennant smell like moth?
I don't know. So when I think we told this story before, but when we were kids, I think I got the idea from Bo and his brother Derek. We started sending football cards to stadiums.
Yeah, we would do
with
that.
letters asking to get them signed, and I got this guy back in the mail when I was like 10 years old. Probably one of the best days ever. Old Joe Mo signed it and sent it back to me.
Do you remember that? We would just sit down and write letters to these players and send them to the stadium just because Beckett would list the stadium's address. And you're like, yeah, all right.
Exactly.
And these players would actually send us signed stuff back.
I got one. I've got one somewhere from John Elway. Sent one back too because I just sent it to whoever had cards for her. I got a Drew Bledsoe back too.
Yeah, there's a pennant here that if you can see, it's kind of hard because I'm kind of short. I can't really get that close to it, but it's written in pencil on the yellow strip there on the left side of it, where like the stick goes in. It says on there, Super Bowl 1969-70. So I don't know if the pennant came from the Super Bowl or if it's just from the Super Bowl season. But yeah, got hooked up on a
nice. John C says he's got one with a Dick Vermeil autograph. That's awesome.
Our dad met Dick Vermeil one time. I think he was down at like McCormick and Schmick's or somewhere down in the plaza. And say sat next to him at the bar or something.
I just remember flashing back being like 9 or 10 years old. I went camping with you and your brother and your family, and like all your uncles and aunts were there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just become a Chiefs fan, and like your family was just like awesome, right? And like they're like I showed them my football card collection, and they're just like they're so stoked that they recruited one.
Yeah, there weren't a lot of Chiefs fans down there in Rio Rancho. You know what I mean?
It was brutal being a Chiefs.
That's great. So if you're listening, John, just put the kids know I love Joe Montana, so they bought me a plaque last year, and they were so excited to give it to me. So when they did, it was Joe Montana in a Kansas City uniform. They just didn't realize it.
So
they got you the good one, is what you're trying to say, John. But yeah, that's pretty cool. Got some old memories, got some old gear back from the old childhood days. Found an old box. So
I've got the newspaper around here somewhere that Grandma gave me when we won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I got it right here.
That's
when I won the Super Bowl.
Like the first one.
Super Bowl 4, baby.
Yeah, the first one of my life. Right here. Here's the paper. My good buddy Nick got me that.
Yeah, I got one of those downstairs as well. But
yeah, Scott's definitely the one out of us that would have a basement bunker, Tom.
At least it's decorated well. It's decorated better than most survival bunkers.
You gotta be prepared. You never know. You never know what's coming around the corner. So anything else you guys want to get to? I don't know if anybody's got any questions about the game, or we got to do some score predictions here pretty quick here before we jump off.
All right. I'm just trying to think about this. You guys think it's gonna be close? You guys think it's gonna be blowout? Somewhere in between? There's 3 options.
I don't know, man. I haven't been good at predicting the blowouts this year. I thought we were gonna boat race the Bengals there, and it looked like we were about to, and then they held on enough and kept it close.
I'm picking 34-24 Chiefs. I think they win by 10.
10. Ooh, okay.
I mean, that's not a blowout. That's
No,
it's
that can be a suspenseful game.
I was just about to say, incoming John V comment about you picking them to score 30.
They averaged 30 points a game this year. Number 1 scoring offense in the league, right up there with the Eagles. So,
I'm gonna go 31-20. I think it's gonna be a little bit better than that. I think like everything we've said, man. I think
I knew one of you guys was gonna do it.
No, I'm just thinking with everything we've pointed out today, there's no reason that we can't just step on these guys' necks a little bit. AFC seems to be the far superior team in the NFL compared to the NFC, especially when it comes to these two. Yeah, 31-20. Nick?
I was going to do 31-24 was what I was going to pick. So I think it's going to be a little closer. Looks like we got Brenda in the chat, 28-21.
Yeah, so, we definitely need to get the predictions from the chat here. So
yeah.
Oh, yep. Hands off.
You do it. You do it.
Nope. I'm drinking.
John C. Chiefs 30-17.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Dude, okay. Our chat has called closer games before. Are we feeling confident? Everybody looks like they feel confident. John V, I'm curious. You're like an outsider. You got a prediction on this one? Because
yeah, John.
He was predicting to win on
hearts for us, buddy.
John V was picking to win on Locker Room Rant last night. So.
Yeah, he said he wasn't going to do a score too. I think
not on their show. He'll do one on
ours.
He'll do it. There it is. 24-21. There we go. He's got a close game. All right.
I hope it's not 24. I hope it's not 24-21.
I will die 1,000 deaths if it's 24-21 during that game.
I'll gladly take a 24-21 lead as long as it's our victory, as long as it's the chefs.
Hey, I'll take a win. I'll take a win. I'm just, I want to know that feeling when you cruise through a Super Bowl, because that's got to be like a really fun one, right? When you just totally fuck up the other team.
Yeah, we've had the stressful nail biter one. We've had the loss. Let's have that easy cruise. Yeah. I agree with you. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
34-14. There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
Man, Laney's getting
strong
here in the predictions.
34-24. Another little 10-point there. All right.
All right, Dylan, 35-21.
Dylan going strong. So we got some folks here that are picking some 3 points, some nail biters, and some people that think it's gonna be an easy win. I'm looking forward to it. Again, I just think all the things we've been talking about this whole episode just have made me feel like better and better and better about the game.
Yeah.
Think about how many good players the Chiefs have.
So many well-rounded players. It's awesome.
Yeah. And they've got the experience, the coaching edge, they got the quarterback edge. When you've got the advantage at quarterback and head coach, that you're going to win a lot of games. That makes you the favorite in pretty much any game. Not to mention you add in the experience. You got a Hall of Fame tight end who's like breaking and setting all these records. The only person that he's behind now is Jerry Rice for all these receiving records in postseason history. You look at the defense. I said it before. I think Nick Bosa is going to get it, but Chris Jones is the defensive player of the year. You look at this guys. I got rookie Karlaftis is coming on, man. Frank Clark is a top all-time playoff performer.
Let's go.
Sacks. You go into the secondary. I mean, you got L'Jarius Sneed. You got these guys. I know John was talking about Miles Sanders. You guys had a hard time with him, but the Chiefs there, the last part of the season, man, they shut down Kenneth Walker, the Seattle running back, didn't do much. And that game there, the second or third last game of the year, then they came out and they shut down the run against Travis Etienne in that divisional round game. Shut down Joe Mixon and a pretty solid running game with the Bengals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spags has got the defense rounded right into form, man. We just got to keep it going.
Yeah. Like I said, they didn't lock down and shut down the Bengals receivers, but they bottled them up pretty good. Chase and Higgins didn't go crazy and torch us. They were able to keep Metcalf and Lockett in check and be able to keep them reasonable production from those two guys. Devontae Adams, last game of the year, they kind of locked him down. He really didn't do much. This Chiefs defense, this Chiefs team is good, man. And they've got the best quarterback.
I like Tom's outlook. It won't be as close as the Bengals game. Love it.
Dude, I'm not thinking so either.
We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, they may be the best offensive line, but I don't know. Josh Jacobs was the rushing leader. He had the rushing title this year. It's not like the Raiders' line is garbage.
Yeah.
Kenneth Walker balled out. Seattle's offensive line isn't awful. So, yeah.
That's true.
So, yeah.
Me too, John. Me too. Nothing more than I'd love to see that, dude.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So, we're at the end of the season, and it's been a lot of fun.
One more game.
Really enjoy
4
every week.
more quarters.
Right, 4 more quarters. And Patrick Mahomes is going to win the MVP award here in a couple of days. That's going to happen. So that's his. You can take that to the bank.
When did they announce that? Did they announce that tomorrow?
I think
Friday?
Friday, I think.
Oh, yeah. Tomorrow's not Friday.
It's locked up, though.
Yeah, the next couple of days. Oh, that's his. He's got the MVP. That's all there is to it. So can wrap up an amazing season here with a Super Bowl win. Chiefs they get 3 Super Bowls. They're right up there. I mean, you start talking about a third, and at that point, you got to say for a franchise, obviously, it'll only be 2 for Patrick. But
yeah,
I mean, if Patrick can get 2 in his first 5 years, the dude's got an easy 10 years left in his career. You gotta like his chances of getting a couple more. You start getting into 3, 4, 5 Super Bowls. Now you're up there with the upper echelon teams like John's Niners and the Steelers and the Patriots and these teams that have won 5, 6, 7 Super Bowls. Man, it's right there.
Yeah, dude, it's right there. It seems so surreal to hear you say that, right? Just like, oh, dude,
just
chomping at the bit right now.
Enjoy while it's here. Chiefs gonna go take care of business Sunday in Phoenix. They're going to win where they started off the season with fireworks and explosive. What was that game? 44 to the Cardinals got a couple cheap garbage time touchdowns there.
44-21, I think.
Yeah, it was like 44-21, but it was 44-7 or something at one point, or 41-7 at some point in that game.
It's like 30-7. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. This is the golden age of Chiefs football. They're playing in the Super Bowl Sunday. And they're the favorites for next year. And their quarterback's going to win his second MVP trophy here this week. Really appreciate everybody who joins us and supports the channel. John.
100. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, John V, John C, Brenda, Laney, Carol, Big Doug, Tom. Who am I missing here? Our new man,
Race
Mike,
Car, Kara.
Race Car. Got cousin
Haji,
Joel,
everybody.
Yep. Chris Daly. Just thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing.
Patrick Mahomes, thank you so much for being born. Appreciate you.
Right, exactly. And I think there's a Super Bowl celebration reaction show coming Sunday evening. Sunday night at some point.
Oh God, I hope
you know
so.
why? Because Patrick Mahomes is going to win MVP. He's going to get the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. He's going to win the Super Bowl, and he's going to win the Super Bowl MVP. And they're going to call it. They're going to call it the Patrick Slam. There you go. Sweet
Patrick Slam. I like it.
I like the sound of that. Dylan, thank you so much for joining us, man, and supporting the channel, bro. We really appreciate it. If I forgot someone's name, I apologize. I did not forget you on purpose. We're just starting to get so many viewers, I can't keep them all straight, and it's really exciting.
That's awesome.
We're gonna do some off-season stuff too. We're gonna do some draft stuff. We're gonna try to get some sponsors and see if we can't start.
You're not getting rid of us that easily. We'll be around.
Right. So, yeah, and I imagine we'll do a show next week too. So it has been a hell of a year, John, and it's capping off here Sunday in Phoenix. Super Bowl 57 against the Philadelphia Eagles, the Kelsey Bowl, the Andy Reid Bowl. Let's go, baby. Woo! Let's go. Let's get this. Let's get this Lombardi. And on Sunday, let's go Chiefs.
Let's go Chiefs.
Let's go to Super Bowl. Let's go. Come on, baby. Fight, dog. Yeah. Hell yeah. Let's go get this mama. Come on, man. Go, man. You came to play. It's the game of the year. You showed up.
Chiefs will tackle him. This game is over. This game is over. Chiefs. You can dislike the Chiefs. You can disrespect the Chiefs. You're going to have to deal with the Chiefs.